Dean Lucas, what a day we've had, my friend.
I know. I think the whole being a gypsy, hanging out with a guy that does gypsy tales just goes together well. But I think, honestly, everything I feel like I've been doing lately has been this good. Or, yeah, I feel like it just keeps getting better, which is cool.
Yeah, sweet. So basically, how long ago do you reckon you would have first messaged me? It's been a while ago now.
I think it was was it around like World Champs or something? Because I know you commented on, was it Loic's photo or Loic's video or something? And you're like, hey, if you're ever in town, get in touch. Like, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I seen that as like, okay, you do mountain bike stuff. Like, that's my little in.
Yeah.
So then I seen that and I was like, hey, I'm not like Bruni, but I'm up for a chat. Like, I thought, and I always thought you were in California. So I was like, I go to California maybe once a year or now and again. Yeah. Oh no, it was during the season, I think, and I was in California with Charlie. I was staying with Charlie Harrison for like 2 weeks before World Champs and the World Cup final. Yeah. And I was like, maybe we can meet up. I'm in California. And then when I messaged you, you're like, oh, if you're ever up the Goldie, we'll chat. And I was like, well, that's good. We can still make it happen. Yeah. But like not now. Like, it was kind of like, oh, cool. It could be a real thing, but who knows when it's going to happen. And then it's kind of just always been like there in my mind, like I should come up and do it. And then not until recently, I've like been trying to do more stuff, I guess. And I had like this real weird, I don't know if you call it like an epiphany or like whatever, but I had my 24th, not like 3 weeks ago. And I had like an awesome night. I had like the best time ever. I got like, I've been planning this party for a while. It's one of the, you know how I keep saying like there's like, you have these ideas in your head and like you have these dreams and like plans and whatever, but you just have them in your head. Yeah. You never actually bring them to fruition. Like, you always just think about it and think how good it was and like it could be. Anyway, I wanted to have a massive party for a while and I was like kind of planning how I'd do it, but I never like put a date on it. I just kind of, it was just something going around in my head. And then one day I was like, nah, I'm having a party. So, because I'm always away for my actual birthday, I just never get the opportunity to do it. So anyway, I was away for my birthday. I was like, okay, I still want to do it, but we'll just do it after the season's done. So I'm like, the season finishes in September. It'll take a while to set up and plan. So I was like, we'll do it in October sometime. So anyway, I just put a date, 5th of October, and then I had that date. As soon as I put that date, I was like, okay, now I can start building towards that date. So then just obviously race the season. Then as soon as I got home, I was like, okay, now I've gone full serious racer mode to like, okay, party planner.
Full send it mode.
Yeah, full. And that's kind of literally what happens. Like every year, like I'm pretty much from the 1st of Jan till like the 10th of September, I'm like full, I'm an athlete now. I got to be serious. Like you have the odd after party at World Cups and stuff, but like nowhere near the extent that comes from like September 12th. The postseason. I think it's good. Hey, like you've worked so hard, you've accomplished so much, like you've put in all this effort, like get some back. Like just kick back. Don't think about bikes for a bit. Don't think about racing. Don't think about pressure. Like literally having fun, like having a good time. So anyway, I got home from the World Cups and I was like, yep, okay, party time. Like let's start setting up this party. And then I just started doing little bits here and there and I found a place to have it, which was really cool. And then I like would go up and do this. And then it was like the snowball effect. Like I'd do one thing like, oh, but this will make it better. I'm like, oh, but then that'll make it better. And I literally just started turning into this like, I don't know, it just kept growing. Yeah. And then every time I do something, I get more excited to do something else. And I was like, and it's just so cool because I knew people, like if I had made this really cool and I went to like, it was kind of like a mini festival kind of almost. Yeah, really. But I was like, if I came to a party, I'd like to see this. Like this would get me excited. So I just kept kind of going and going. And I'm lucky, like with my job, obviously I get so much free time, so I can put a lot of effort into it. So I just like kind of started building it up and then I was like, I put these big poles in and was going to put lights on them and then like bring hay bales in and like I had like a proper full on stage that was there because my grandfather and the guys in business with own this place up the back of Beechworth near where I live. And they own this massive like field area where they had this mini music festival. It was called the Beechworth Music Festival and the stage just got left there. I don't know who owns it, but it's like this full on big proper like festival stage. And I was like, this is perfect. This is like the perfect location. It's out of town, it's open space, all this, like just the perfect place to actually have a party. So I was like, I've got that. That's like okay, so we've got this, you can build around that. So anyway, I just started going up there like every couple days and I'd just start like putting poles in, putting hay bales there, setting up the stage, setting up lights. And then it was kind of like I asked people to help me. A few people kind of here and there, but like everyone's works a normal job, and I don't expect them to help. But I think the fact that like I just kept chipping away at it, and it just kind of kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
It was like since I got home to now, so over a month of like chipping away, doing bits and pieces here and there, like not fully that.
Yeah, not 8 hours.
But that
a day.
was like my biggest focus is like, oh, I could do this, and then I was like, okay, we need food there. And then I was like, I don't want to just like cook a barbecue, so I like went and talked to this Thai lady, and she was going to come cook like proper Thai dishes and stuff. And then I was like, we need heaps of lights, because if you go to a festival there's heaps of lights, so we got lights. And then I was like,
it's like you're like the Great Gatsby of Albury.
oh, I do. And I was like, I just kept building it, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then I was like, oh, we can put like glow sticks and balloons and stuff, and have balloons up in the air and like lights and all this cool stuff. And then this is actually I actually love this story. This is actually one of my probably favorite stories at the moment. But anyway, so then the party comes along, and we get there, and we're like setting up, and it's like all going well, and then it starts pissing rain, and it's like 4:30, and there's like a few people there, not many, and it just starts bucketing rain, like hammering rain so hard, and it's hail coming, and I'm just like, I had like my DJ decks set up, and like all these speakers and subs and lights, and then some of the lights get shorted out from all the rain and like and all this stuff, and I'm like putting blankets over the subs, and like just literally in panic. And at this point I've literally spent like $3.5, almost $4,000 on this party to get it to this point, and I'm like, it's done. It's like the rain's just ruined everything, and I'm like, just stressing, not into it at all. And then anyway, the sun starts to come out, more people start to rock up, and I'm like, oh fuck, like it might be all good. And we checked the radar, and like the sun was coming out, it was clear, and I was like, thank fuck for that. But I was still a bit like in that stress mindset and that headspace.
Frazzled.
Yeah, just a bit like in shock. Yeah, frazzled. So I'm like, oh well, I'll go start doing other little bits and pieces. So I started doing all these other things here and there, and like still a bit like running around, like stressing about everyone having a good time and stuff. And I even told people before, I'm like, I'm not even going to have a good time. I'm going to put all this effort into it, but I'm going to just be so stressed that I'm not even going to properly enjoy this. Anyway, I was like stressing about everything, and I was just like running around, and then I got to the point where I remember I think I was trying to fix a projector or something. I got a projector to make like literally a back of the stage. We're just going to put like wacky shit on and have that playing. And I was like, just like stuff like that. Like, I was like, a projector would be cool. I'm going to go get a projector. So I had to go hire a projector instead of a projector. And it was so cool, man. And all these I got laser lights and like smoke machines, and like I just kept building into this because I was like, how do we make this better? And I just kept having ideas, and it kept like getting bigger and bigger. Anyway, I had it all set up, and even people just kept coming up to me like when they arrived. I'm like, dude, you've gone all out for this. And I was like, yeah, I've put so much into this. Like I put everything into this. And like these people just kept telling me, and I was like, that was making me feel better, because I'm like, people appreciate like the amount of work and effort I've put in. Anyway, I remember I was like trying to fix this projector, and I was like kind of stressing about it. And then I just like stopped for a moment, and there was like heaps of people around me on this dance. Like music was playing. It was a good time. But I was like, just stop for a second. And I just remember like thinking and like looking around and just thinking like, why am I so stressed? And then I remember looking up, and I was like kind of just really deep in thought. And then it's this weird out of body experience that I've never felt before. And I know it sounds crazy when I say it, and some people don't understand it, but full felt like I went out of my body, looked back at myself on the stage, and I just looked at myself. And then it like, imagine you got like Google Maps, and you like zoomed out super quick, and then you saw the world or whatever. And I only saw it, and it was like real quick, and I did that. And then I kind of just realized like all these problems are so insignificant. They're so small. Like all this negative emotion, everything, it doesn't like, why would I feel this after putting in so much work for something? So I literally came back, and then I was just overwhelmed with this new happiness that I honestly have never felt before in my whole life. Like I literally, every bad feeling, every negative emotion, everything just left my body, and I just was overwhelmed with happiness. And I was like, I didn't even know what it was. Like I didn't know, I knew it was good, but I'd never felt it before. And to get across, and then I remember talking to my friend, and I just told him, I was like, I just literally got a new feeling. And he's like, what do you mean? Like I had found a new level of happiness. And it was just because I think I realized like I brought all these people together. They were having such a good time. I should just be enjoying it. And just, that's when I had like this really weird realization, like this is what makes me the happiest I ever felt, is literally bringing people together and seeing like positive emotions out of people, like bringing positive emotions. And then dude, the rest of the night, it just got better and better. Like I stopped worrying. I had not one worry in the world. I literally just went from this like stressing about people having a good time to just overwhelmed with happiness. And like I caught up with my mum, who her and me have been struggling since my dad and her got a divorce. And like that's been kind of wearing away at me for like the whole World Cup season. And like we didn't talk for like 4.5 months.
Dude, that's gnarly.
That's heavy, man. It's like really heavy.
How long? So they got a divorce recently.
They got divorced. It's over a year ago now. I think it's like 18 months or something. But they got divorced, and like we were like happy family when we were all together. And then when they got divorced, it's like anyone gets divorced and money gets involved and all this other stuff. So that like all came into play, and I just didn't agree with certain things she did, and I didn't think it was fair and whatever. So we started fighting, and then we got to the point where we didn't talk either. Yeah. And it's just like, I hated it, man. It was just constantly with me. I hated it. I'm like, my mum was so good to us when we were kids. She showed us so much love, so much compassion, and like just a generally good mum and good person. And to like not talk to that person and then always have that with
like
you.
Weird feelings towards that person.
I hated it. I was like, I just don't, you can't have that emotion in you.
Yeah.
And I just got to the point where I was like, I need to get rid of that. I need to get that out. So before the party, we started talking again, and I loved it. I was so into it, and just like being around my mum again and like telling her I loved her and like just showing her emotion. And like I just kind of, her and dad, I'm not looking at it. I don't still agree with certain things, but I don't care. I don't want to think about it. You and me, we'll just work this out and we'll get through it. So she came to the party, and I just talked to her there as well. And we really talked about stuff. And like, I just had this, I was like an open book. I was literally, every feeling I had, I just wanted to get across to people exactly how I felt. I didn't want to hide stuff. I didn't want to like walk around something or just pretend like the elephant in the room kind of thing. I was like, what I'm feeling is exactly what I'm going to say to you. And then you normally get exactly how they feel back.
Yeah.
So like saw my mum, had awesome talks with her, saw like my ex-girlfriend. It's just everyone, it was just good. It was like no one I talked to was anything bad. And then if I did find someone that I talked to that wasn't kind of like not boring or anything, but just like not had the same energy I did or was not excited, I literally just walked away. I was like, I don't have time to deal with people or talk to people who aren't as like excited and happy and like on the same kind of energy I am.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking about that, man, because I'm like, how is that any different to how you should live your life, really? Like, why shouldn't you surround yourself with people that give you energy and excite you and like drive you and just do all these things? Like literally those people that are just negative and don't push you or whatever, it's like just walk away, run away. Like it's and then people are like, oh, it's not like that, you can't blah blah blah. But I'm like,
kind of is though.
It is if you break it down. If you're with someone that you constantly have something bad to say about them or doesn't bring up good emotions, why are you with them?
Dude, there's like feelings you get from people, and like I'm lucky, and I say this all the time, like part of, I think the reason why I've always worked for myself, I've always had a real tight circle of people. Like I am obsessed with having control over the people I'm around. Like I don't fucking leave this thing. Like I don't want, like I don't really work with other people that much. I pick very carefully the people I'm around. Because it's like, I think the fucking frequency that you operate on, or the vibe, or like how you carry, it's like sort of what we're talking about in the car, is like I only want to be around those people on those same frequencies, and it's like I'm obsessed with the control over that. Because like fuck off if you're not that guy or you're not that girl that's like happy and positive.
Because that's exactly what you're saying with the frequency thing. I'm like, you attract, you want to be on the same channel as everyone. If everyone's on the same channel or wants to watch the same show, I don't know whatever you want to call it, but like same frequencies or whatever. But I keep noticing more and more now, since I've been, like I said, I felt happy, and generally I found, like, you know how we're talking with Taylor Cecil, and he said on it when he was talking to you that like once you find your like meaning or like what makes you happy, once you find your purpose or whatever. And I literally, from that party, I've literally had the mindset now that my happiest I can be, or to get the most happiness out of myself, is helping other people, or bringing good people together and getting happy emotions out of them, and like just seeing them look at the world in a better way. Like I get so much enjoyment out of doing that. And since I've had that, I've literally gone on this trip, and I just keep meeting good people, and I keep like just talking to people and like meeting, having new experiences. And dude, it's like I keep attracting people. Like I went out in Canberra and I was just having a good time, and I met this girl just from uni there, and she just came up to me and I was like, why? And she's like, you just look happy and excited. And it's like they just see that energy, and like I don't even like, I wasn't even trying to hit on it. I was literally just talking to you like I am now and saying how happy I was and how like excited I am with life and just everything in general. And that's, to people, is like such a breath of fresh air, and they get so, I don't know, like I normally would think people wouldn't want to hear this. Like I'd just kind of like lock it, like I'd think it, but I wouldn't actually say it.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
But now I'm just like, I don't really care if like this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And you're honestly, everyone I've told is excited and gets like it excites them, and they feel like they get energy from it, which is like, that comes back to me as well. So dude, since I've been on this trip, it's like literally a trip of a lifetime. I just keep doing good things and just meeting people and like just constantly just kind of growing in a way, which is cool. And like I put up a photo last night with this girl we just met on the beach. Me and Chuck were just on the beach and we just I just started talking to people just because I just wanted to meet new people in Byron. I didn't know anyone in Byron. And we start talking to these girls and we ended up getting a photo, and then I found out afterwards she was on The Bachelor and she's got like more followers than me. And I was just like, that's pretty funny. And then I put up a photo and then everyone's like, there's one girl commented, she's like, what is your life right now? And I just replied, amazing, because it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like we met Taylor Cecil today. Dude, he's like a breath of fresh air. Like that's how I want to come across to people. I want to be, I want someone to meet me and I want them to leave and be like, okay, I can see something better. I feel better. Like you just feel like you get energy out of those people. And like, that's the whole thing with you as well. Cause you've brought us together. And I think that's an awesome thing. If you can bring people together, like that's gotta be like satisfying to you as well. Cause like, I don't know, like that's the thing you were saying when like, I don't know, I just remember that thing with you said about finding your potential. Yeah. And I think with something like that, like, dude, that helping someone else find their potential, that should be like such a big thing for you in like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to like word that, but it's like, you've got to get so much from that. Like, I feel like if just say I did a podcast and then two people got together from that podcast and then benefited from that, like looked at life better or changed something they thought, like, man, that to me is like,
well, that's why it feels like this feels meaningful to me. Like there's a reason for me to do this. And it's like, I think one of the things with it too is that you can never predict who it's going to speak to. You can never, and then that's sort of what Taylor was saying even when we had lunch today, is like there's the all we I, you know, that concept. And it's like a lot of people will think about how it will affect other people or whatever, but it's like if you do the right thing for yourself, treat yourself right and do things with like really good intentions, then it will affect the we in a more positive way. Like you shouldn't start with trying to help other people.
Please
it's like
everyone else,
you do the thing for yourself, for the, because I did that I didn't do that podcast with Taylor to affect you. I did it for me, and it was like a great thing. I wanted to have the best conversation with him that I could have, and then as a result, because it's so genuine and it's such a real thing, it's not forced or produced, or there's no agenda to that conversation. I think that's why people can then take it away and be like, fuck, that was for me. Like that was, because it's like you can just see how genuine that is, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. When I was listening to it, I was just like, the timing of it all to me was crazy, because I was literally in a van gypsying up the coast to see you and having these feelings which were like literally just new to me. Like I've never felt the way I've felt, and I've never been so happy in my life. I've never felt these levels of happiness and continuous levels of happiness. And then I was feeling this like, why? Like, why is this coming now? Why is it happening? Why am I still like this or feeling like this? Yeah. And then I was listening to your podcast with Taylor, and I was just like reinforcing all the reasons why and all these things that I needed to do. And I'm like, how many people listen to a podcast with two people they are relating with so in depth, and then they're driving to talk to that same person? Like that in my head was like such a weird, good coincidence. But then I was like, man, that's, just do it. Like just put yourself out there and make, like, I made it happen, you made it happen, but you just got to do it, and it just works out so well. So dude, I'm like, because I've, like I said, we talked about this for a while, but it wasn't till quite recently where I'm like, nah, we're doing this.
I wonder if it's because I'm just gonna let this dog out, he's fucking sooking.
It doesn't matter if it keeps going.
Oh no,
it's all good. You chop it up, do what you want with it.
No, I probably won't even chop obsessed with
We'll just run it.
I don't think anything makes me
Makes you that excited.
No.
Fuck, I don't know if I can handle that if someone made me that excited. Probably just girls.
I was going to say pussy back in the day.
Yeah.
Probably made me that excited.
Back in the day, it doesn't anymore.
No,
I can't say that.
I got the same girl. So
That's still good.
I mean, it does make you excited. It's just different. It's not
It's
like
different. No, dude,
it's not like that old school hustle pussy.
I know. I had a fucking. I do.
It's not that World Cup after party pussy anymore.
There's no World Cup after party pussy. Dude, I had a dry spell. World Cups, nothing for ages.
Why not? Because you weren't winning.
There's just honestly, there's not that many cute girls at World Cups.
I bet.
100%. Like we're in the mountains. We're remote.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's not that many, and I don't go to that many after parties. And even when I do, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't.
You
really,
do without it.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen that much. And honestly, I'm like just so focused on racing. I think I lose sight of like a lot of that stuff.
Do they have like? They don't really have monster girls and shit at those.
No, you see, that's what we need. We need some monster girls to like.
Fuck, that would thicken out the scene a bit, bro.
Yeah, I know.
The amount of drama that monster girls have caused in the motocross industry is fucking out of control.
Do you know a guy? Can we like make some calls or something?
Maybe get them on the trip.
I'm like, we need girls.
Red Bull
like
doesn't
sex,
do that.
sex sells. Get some girls there.
Yeah.
I should just. I was thinking about if I went to a World Cup, how good it'd be if I just hired a girl, umbrella girl.
You should fucking totally.
I just ruined that. Everyone knows, but that's like, dude, the whole idea of that looks so like it's just cool. It just adds to it. That's the kind of stuff I want to do.
Tinder.
Yeah,
and
just be like,
hey, you're hot as fuck. We'll give you $100 to hold an umbrella at a World Cup.
I feel like we've ruined it. We're gonna get to the first one, but if we do, it's good as well. Either way, it's win-win, really. If we get like 10 European 10 Tinder girls there, no, I'd be all into it. I think it'd be really cool. Just build it. Like, I'm sure MotoGP and all that didn't have umbrella girls at some point. So someone's got to be the one to break through the layer.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like, I was saying about the party. Like, you just want to find things to make it better. I feel like with life now, I just keep finding things like that, or things that. What was the thing you said on the podcast with Taylor when you said if you do anything one way or something?
Oh, how you do anything's how you do everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now I'm at the point now where if I'm gonna do something, why not give it 100%? Yeah. Why not put everything into it? Like, why? Like, if you're gonna mow the lawn, why wouldn't you put 100% into that? Because if you don't put 100% in there, you're probably going to find somewhere else to cut a corner and then someone else, and it's just, you're going to half-ass everything.
Well, life to me is just momentum.
Yeah.
Like good momentum, bad momentum. Like you're going to get one or the other.
Yeah.
Like there's no just like static state in life. So it's like, fuck man, like you need to do your best to gather. Like that's like even today. So it was pretty cool for me today too, because what we did was sort of like the first time I've had a guest that like we didn't really know each other apart from online conversations.
Yeah, a couple of Instagram comments.
Yeah, and then we rock up this morning, you're here, we get some food, go on a 2-hour mountain bike ride, get lost, come back, have lunch with Taylor, then we're racing down to the beach to jump in for a quick swim, and it's like that to me is like that's momentum. Yeah, that's positive momentum. Now we do the podcast, and it's like
it keeps building.
Exactly,
it just keeps building. That's like when I talk to you about coming here. It just keeps getting better. But it's like you make it get better, and you make the decisions to make it get better.
Momentum.
This is what I mean, man. This like you control your entire world. Everyone you be around, everything you do, everything you feel. And I'm like realizing more now how much you have control over your mind and how you want to perceive things and perceive people and situations and everything. Because like last night I was kind of stressing about getting to yours on time and all this stuff. I had like just little bits of stress. And then I was like, why am I stressing? I'm like, it's just this little situation I had to get through. And I knew it, like in my back of my head, I'm like, no, it will be fine. So I'm like, how do I get that to the front and get the stress to like just out of there? Yeah. So I like go back, I'm like, why I'm stressing? And it's just like, okay, it's because I got to drop Charlie off at the beach and go surfing, and then I need to drive here and like do a few other things. And I just kind of work through it in my head, all the things and how I'm going to do it. And then the stress left. And then I was just happy. I'm like, if you can take situations, pull them apart, and then put it back together in a better way, and then just go about what you need to do. Like you can do that with pretty much anything. Like anything where you've got anger or stress or sadness, you can normally pull that situation apart and find it's like a maze or like a jigsaw. Yeah. Like you can twist it and shape it any way you want. Yeah. And then put it back together in a happy way. because it's like you feel like every feeling you have, you control that feeling. So I'm like, why wouldn't you rather be happy than sad or angry or all these shit emotions? Like, I'm just like, that's what I'm all about trying to do.
Yeah.
And because you always see people that like, they will be angry about something or angry at you, but like most of the time it's driven through something else that you can't control. And it's like driven on someone, like something happening to them. So I try and like, if someone's mean to me or like writes a mean comment or like has negative emotions towards me, I try and like, instead of taking those emotions on board and then throwing them back even worse and just like putting fuel on the fire, I'd be like, kind of like, why are you feeling this way? Like, what's up? Like, what's going on? And then you break it down. And then if you can find out why, then sort it out and see them happier and then see them work through it and then go, hey, I'm not like mad anymore. Dude, that's like crack to me at the moment. That's all I want to do is like get people, like see people that like I love and like I know, and find out ways to like just make them see life better or like make them view it better. Because dude, I have such a good life. I like get to literally live my dream, race bikes around the world, get to meet cool people like you, all this stuff, but like people don't have that excitement. And then I think they dwell or get jealous on that as well, because I've got so many friends that they just like they say I've got an easy job, or like they look at it like I'm kind of like rubbing in their face in a way, which it's like nothing like that, but I can understand that mentality. It's like anyone's mentality. Like if you always look at someone's better off than me,
well, it's the haves and the have-nots, right?
Yeah, exactly. But if you can stop looking at like he's better off than me and stop worrying about that person and then worry about yourself, how can I be as good as him, or how can I change my situation to get there? Like,
but the thing too that people should remember is like nothing's what it seems from the outside. Like the person that's inside the brain and inside your fucking body, like you can't pretend to know whether that's good or bad or amazing or just okay. And like, even like you were saying, when you got your first pro ride, you were like, this fucking sucks. Like, but to other people, it's like, they must be like, you must be so happy. It's like, it's very, everyone's on a fucking ride, and you just, well, like they say, comparison's a thief of joy. Like you cannot compare yourself to people. Because
it's like, you know how you say the ride thing then, I feel like I've never been able to explain it properly, but you know I was saying with the parent thing. So like when I first got the ride with Intent, I was like, you know the thing when you say like the dog chasing the car, and then he catches it. I was kind of like shocked, like I've actually got it. Like I've been working since I was 10, 11 years, like 12 years old, racing state, national, World Cup, everything, and like doing IXS and all these different races, and just building up to this one moment, which is obviously becoming a professional and making it into a job. And then I got it, and I was just like, shit, like I've got it, I've got this, like I've ticked off this box. And then I thought I'd be like over the moon, and like I was excited, like I was generally excited about it. But then I compare it now to just say, because my parents were never pushy with my riding, they were always super supportive, super helpful, like helped me go through everything, helped me like get to races, like definitely very caring and loving in that regard. But they never said you had to do it, and they never said like, why aren't you training, or why aren't you eating this, or like they were just kind of there to help. If I needed help, they would lend a hand. So I never really needed to ride for a reason. Like I didn't have to ride. And then as soon as I got a professional ride, obviously it's a job then, and you got people watching you, and you like got expectations to live up to and all this other stuff. And I was just a bit like, I'm not used to this, and I didn't know how to kind of deal with it. And it just like, and then my year struggled. I ended up breaking my heel. I broke my wrist. I literally had the worst season I've ever had. I went from my best season ever to my worst. And even when I was training, I used to work like 7 till 4 doing a Boilermaker's apprenticeship welding. And I like, it wasn't that bad, but it was like not that good either. And then as soon as I'd finish, I'd go for an XC ride, and I'd be like, man, this is so fun. Like, this is sick. Like, I just get to like ride my bike. Like, I was so into it. Like, it was like almost like dessert after like dinner or whatever. Anyway, and went from that to then all I obviously had to do was ride, which is obviously still like, it was good, but it's just like,
it just felt different.
I just killed it a bit. And then when I felt like I had to ride, and then I wasn't sure how to, like, just everything changed. And then when that happened, I just like, it killed it for me, man. Like I just lost love for it. I just didn't want, I don't know. It's like, I just didn't want to do it.
When you signed that contract, did you think like, oh, I could win World Cups now? Or did you still feel like because like I could see something I hadn't really thought about until you sort of brought it up, but like you see guys like, that they get a factory ride. Like you'll see it in Supercross, like a guy like Garrett Marchbanks or something like that. And it's like, he might be a bad example. Like, I wonder who else I could think of. Because he's like good and he probably will do really well. But there's guys where it's like they almost don't even believe that they can get a factory ride. So then when they get it, they're like, that is their world. That is their world championship. That is their. And then once they've got the ride, they're like, well, I don't really think I can win. So then it becomes this weird feeling of like, am I even worthy to have this ride? This is what I always wanted, but did I even deserve it?
Did I deserve to get it? Yeah, I felt like I deserved it from where I came from. Like I did think I deserved it, but I don't think at the time I thought I could win. But it was just, it was just weird, man. It was just like I went from like, I just felt like honestly like I was chasing something to I got it and then I didn't know what to do with it. But obviously it was just like keep going. Like at that point, and then I did get a third place the year before that kind of got me the ride, and I just had.
Where was that at?
Lenzerheide in Switzerland. Yeah. So that was like when I was a bit kind of no name, and that kind of came out of nowhere, which was kind of cool. But like that's probably a part of it as well because that was a goal to get a World Cup podium. I did that, and then I got like a proper ride. Yeah. It was all kind of like I've achieved all this stuff, and then I just it's weird. I honestly can't explain why.
Do you feel like you're super competitive?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. 100%. I feel like I'm getting less competitive, but like still more driven to win. Yeah, like if that makes sense. So I'm like, I'm not so caught up in results and like having to win. Like I'm literally trying to bring in more doing it for the love of it and doing it for fun and like taking out the just real competitive nature. But I definitely, like if we play like a game, just like we play like, I don't know, something, I definitely want to beat you in it. Yeah, but I'm not like so driven to like. I think I used to be worse for sure. I think it has gotten better. But yeah, that was a weird time for me. Yeah, and then it's literally taken me up until probably last year to like be like, okay, I want to do it because I had the first 2 years were terrible, man. Like I didn't even think Intense was going to re-sign me. Like I got to the point where I couldn't find my love for it again. Yeah. And I remember I came home in the middle of the World Cups and I sat down with my dad because I was working for him before. And I sat down with him and I'm like, I don't have a ride. Like, well, I didn't think they would offer me a ride. And then I started like, if I don't, can I come work for you again? Like I was making plans, or I was making plan B into a reality. And then the next race, that was Mont Saint Anne in Canada. And that was the one that got rain affected and I got second. And it was just weird, man, because it was like, it was this rebirth of like, okay, like I stood on a podium and I'm like, even though like I know it was rain affected, like I think I might have got a top 10 possibly, but I got second. But it was just like that feeling of being back in the mix and being in like attention and all this stuff, and it kind of like gave me a fire in my belly again. And then I went to the last round and I was like riding good again, and then I think I got 12th at World Champs in Cairns, and I was like, okay, we can still do this kind of thing. And then in that off season, man, I just like, I'm turning over every rock and looking at, like I'm doing everything I possibly can to make this into like a proper thing. And then I came out the year after and got third straight off the bat. I qualified second, went down last. Like it was just like, it's that reassurance that like my best is good enough. And then it definitely just got the fire in my belly again. And then from then I've just like, the love's kind of been coming back and it's been back there again, and I've kind of got over that whole like catching the car, like being the I know what to do with it, I'm gonna hop in the car and fucking take it to space. Like I'm excited again. That's good. But it's just funny because a lot of people, especially like professional athletes, they get told what will happen if they don't get a ride. Like they always get the option.
Well, you started making plan B to go back.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. And then your family and your friends and everyone kind of go, yeah, you can do this and you can do that, but no one really prepares you for if you do get the ride. Like no one says, oh, if you get the ride, you're going to feel all this pressure from these people and you're probably going to have to do these media obligations and you're probably going to have to do this, and like you should probably change your training and you're going to like have so much free time. And like that was a big thing I didn't deal with very well, that I could have dealt with a lot better. Like I could have been more professional earlier. But like,
what would you do different in the whole process? Like if you could go back and relive the events of like signing that contract, what stuff would you change in that 12 months, you reckon?
Probably wouldn't have partied so hard at the very first bit, because that was another thing. I caught the car, I was excited, I did all this, so I did party for a fair bit once I finished the season, and then I did that for a while, and then just didn't make a plan. Like I didn't make I should have made a plan of like who I was going to train with, like where I was going to train, when I was going to start. Like I was just kind of everything was all over the place.
Like you were just sort of winging it.
Yeah, I was 100% winging it, and I was like, you can't really do that if you've like if you're trying to be a professional athlete, like I just kind of try to do it all myself, which looking back now, just like, what were you doing? Like this is the whole thing about talking to people and like getting information off people, because it's all going to help you in the long run. So if I like talk to my coach, who's Joel Panozzo, which I did start later on.
Oh, really?
Do you know Joel Panozzo?
Oh, just when I was racing, he was one of the dudes. Yeah.
So he's my coach now.
Yeah, sick.
So I went and like I actually went away from him in that really bad year.
Yeah.
And then I went back to him later, and then like
he was
just
a beast,
just stuff like that. Yeah, he's got, I think his best result. He got fourth at a world champs. He won heaps of Norbers and stuff. And he's a cool guy.
But he was always super fit too, eh?
Yeah. So I started training with him, and then it definitely helped for sure. But that was one thing. I went my separate way with him. I don't know. I just didn't plan everything. I kind of just tried to go on my own, and then when it all failed, I kind of.
And like, how old would you be? Like 21, 22?
How old was I? I think 21 or 22 then.
And it's like, you know nothing.
But that's the thing. You're a fucking kid. I'm a kid. Yeah. So it's like,
but you don't. You think you're the man.
That's the thing, and that's what like it's that ego mindset thing where you just like, I don't know. Back then, I just didn't take in stuff from people. Like I did to a certain extent. But even I just talk to some people and go, oh no, I know what's better. Like I can do this or whatever. But now I'm so much more open-minded to just like anything. Like tell me anything. It's like I'm either gonna I'll think about it, process it, to be like that's a good or a bad thing or whatever. Or it might just be nothing. But just like if I talk to you, I know. And just like back then, I just didn't talk about things. I didn't bring it up, and that's something I'm trying to change now because it definitely helps. Like this year, I've talked to Greg Minnaar. Like I've literally kind of gone under his wing. And like the dude's literally the GOAT. Like he's and like who else would you want to talk to really? He's been in the sport like the longest now. He's got the most World Cup wins. He's got like multiple world championships. Like dude, I'm just a sponge. Hey, like I always talk to him. I had like this really good chat with him when we were in Moorsing. We're both training there together, and I was just talking to him, and I was just like, how have you done this for so long? How have you just like constantly come back? Because I was already at the point to quit and go get a normal job, and I was in it for like 2 years. He's just like, you've just got to like balance everything. And he's just like, and just definitely have downtime, definitely know when it's time to train serious. And he's just like telling me all these like good things, and I just soaked it all up. And this was right in the middle of the season, and I just got this new love for it again. And then from that point on was like LXX in France, and then from then on I just kept getting good results, and I just kept being happy. Like I wanted to be at races, I wanted to be around all these people, and I looked at it as like, this is such a cool experience. I didn't look at it like work or anything. I was like, this is fucking cool, man. And like I was in LXX, and I remember like riding from the chairlift like over to it. There's like 2 chairlifts, and there's like the crowd's kind of in the middle of the first to the second one, and I'm riding over, and I got my headphones on. I'm just like listening to some pump up music, and there's just hundreds of like kids and people there, and they're just all like eyes on me, watching me go to the lift. And I was like, dude, we are rock stars. Like this is fucking amazing. You got in the middle of this beautiful scenery in France, going up to do what I love, and I'm just like, had this moment of like, this is so fucking cool. And then I was like, if I get a flat tire, or if I crash or whatever, like I can't even take away from how good this is. Like that shouldn't change my mindset of like a result. 3 minutes, the future 3 minutes shouldn't determine how good this feeling is right now. And it's like almost cheating, because I know when I feel like that, I always do well. So it's like if I can get in that zone where I don't care if I do well, that's when I do well, because it's just like it's just good. I can't explain it, but you just like, I'm just content with the moment and everything and where I am, what I'm doing. And then if you can do that, like the race run, it just happens. It just works out well. But it's a hard mindset to get into. But I've been trying more and more, and it has been getting better and better. Yeah. But I think that's like what separates a lot of the top guys is definitely the mindset going in. If you go in there just knowing you're the man and everyone's there to watch you win, and you know within yourself you can win, it just happens. It's crazy. Like your mind is like the hardest one to train, but the most important at the same time. Like anyone can be fit. Like you jump up and down and do star jumps and hop on a rowing machine or whatever. Like you're gonna like
you'll get fit.
You can get fit, but if you can't wrap your mind around why you're doing it and like what makes you do it and just all these different things, and like just generally be happy doing it, I feel like you're just gonna struggle. And that's with most things in life, man. If you don't actually know why you're doing it and why you're getting out of it, it's just like, why are you doing it? Like literally, why are you doing it? And then once I got back to that point where I like literally loved doing it again and realized why I did it, I was like, just like cracked the code. And from going from the start of when I got a professional ride to like being not knowing to now nothing else I'd rather be doing. I love it, man. This season we just got better and better, and especially coming onto a new team and like so many unknowns, and then finishing on such a high. I'm just like, oh, it's good. It's so good. I've been so excited about the whole, I don't know, this whole year, man. Just I felt like I've grown a lot as a person with racing in general and so many different aspects and just life. And I don't know, I'm just really stoked, really excited for it.
It's a good age, like the age that you're at now, because I was living away in America at your age, and like I've felt like I was really going through a lot of that stuff as well, you know, and like I definitely had the points where I was just full running on straight ego autopilot, and like like I'd be fucking the smartest dude in the world and you know everything, and then it is exciting when you first hit that point of like you understand that like, oh, like there's this whole like road I should be on as a person, and like I think at the start you think that like I'm gonna like walk down this road for a bit, you know, really figure some shit out with myself, and I'm gonna be where I need to be, and then I think you start to realize you're like, oh, this is just like this road you're supposed to walk on forever.
It just gets better and better.
Yeah, and there's some people that never even find that road. They never try to look inside themselves and try to really figure out like what makes their brain work, what makes them happy, what makes them sad, like all that kind of shit. And it's like they just don't. They don't even know that that's sort of a thing.
I agree. That's like when you're talking with Taylor, it's just like, and how you bring people that have just found that road with people that have been on it for a while. And that to me, man, that's like, if you can find someone then pull you up to that road, and then I find like, why can't that person then find someone else and pull them along that road? And just like, just this mindset of just like everything's good and you make everything good, or you make everything how you want it. It's just such a refreshing thing to like try and get in people's heads. And that's what I hope this can do. Like I hope people listen to this and just think of a situation in their life that like they might be angry about or mad or something, and then just try and look at it from another perspective, and then come back on it and work it out and then be happier. It's like one person like that would make me happy if someone could just do something like that. And that's what I mean. That's all I want to get across to people, is like bringing happiness out of people and bringing like a new sense of, I don't know, something. It's funny, when I was at this nightclub in was it Mr. Wolf's in Canberra or whatever? And I was just out the front. I was like a bit over it. Anyway, there was this guy that I didn't know, just some random guy, and this girl was real drunk, and she was trying to get back in the club, and this guy was just like, oh, just like settle down, whatever. Anyway, he went up to her and he's just like, what are you doing? And then he's real mad, and she just kept trying to go in the club. So I talked to him and I was like, you all good, man? He's like, she's fucking ruining my night. I was having the best night ever and now I got to look after her. And I was just like, oh, maybe just like find someone, if you're another friend that can take her home. He's like, no, I'm the only one here with her, all this stuff. And then he's like, she might be able to hang out with this girl. And he's real angry, like pumping a cigarette down just in like a bed, just not happy, just not having a good time. And I saw it, I started chatting to him. I was like, man, it's all good. Like, you've been a good friend, you're working this out, like that's good. Like just trying to give positive things. And then he's just like, she was sitting with this other girl. I'm like, she's fine. And he's like, come on, let's go back up to the party. He's like, no, I can't go. And I was like, oh, I'll buy you a drink if you come up. And he cracked this smile. And like, this is the first time I've seen him smile since he was just real angry. And dude, that to me is like, that brings out something in me. And I have this reference now where I say like, because I'm doing it because I like it. So like, I feel like I'm giving you $10, but you're giving me $100 back. And I get like a little fix out of it. So it's like, it's for me, but you get something out of it too. But then anyway, he started laughing, then we started joking around, talking, and then by the end of it, he was like, we were just having like a chat and talking and laughing, and then he ended up taking his friend and they went home. Anyway, I went up to the club and had a good time at party, and then I seen him again, and he just had this smile on his face. He's like, I took her home, and I thought I'll come back. And I was like, you feel better though, don't you? And he's like, yeah, I feel good. I'm gonna go have a good time. He just went off with the drink to the dance floor. And that to me, man, I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to see someone that's pissed off, angry, and then be able to see them happy and like having a good time. Like, I'm just like, it's literally like an addiction to me now. I love it so much. I love being able to like do stuff like that. And that's like when Taylor said, once you find your call, like what you truly believe is your thing, why you're here, you'll be happier. And I feel like I've found that now, and that's why I'm genuinely happier. And it's just like, it's just with everything in life, I'm just like happy with friends, family, my job, everything. And that's all I'm trying to like, and then people see it. People keep telling me like, you look so happy. I'm like, I am. I've never been so happy in my life. I'm like, oh, it's crazy, man.
I wonder if it's
a crazy feeling. Like, look how when I met you, we just hit it off.
Yeah.
Like, how do you meet someone, just go mountain bike riding, talk literally all day, and then we're just on a podcast talking more? I just like, that's how I want to be with everyone.
Yeah.
I
wonder if it's because being an athlete, like you have to be selfish to be an athlete. And I know that, like that was one of the things with Dungy, like why he sort of really got, like he didn't not like riding anymore, but he was like, dude, I'm married and I want to have a kid, and I've like got this life where everyone is just constantly doing shit for me.
Yeah.
And like my moods are affected by a result and this and that. He's like, dude, I just don't want to be selfish. He's like, I'm naturally such an unselfish person.
Yeah.
But to be successful in sport, you have to be super selfish. So I wonder if it's just a thing where like you've been selfish for a long time, not on purpose or with malice, but just to do the job that you do. And then now it's like, dude, I just want to fucking not be like, I want to give back to other people.
I think that is a part of it in a way, but this, like, honestly, this is probably the biggest thing. Of like, I think this is where it all probably like literally stems from the start. And I've been thinking about it more, and this is honestly the biggest reason I wanted to come in and talk to you was probably for this point, because like I said, I just want to put positive emotions into people. So when I was, this goes way back, okay, so I think this is where like it literally rooted from. But when I was younger, probably I think I was like 10 or 11 years old, I was going to like this small school in like small country Victoria. So I was going to a small school, didn't have any friends, was like bullied, was doing terrible at school, like wasn't a smart kid at school. Literally, I think in my year there was a girl and a guy. I think the guy was autistic and the girl was just like a bit of a tomboy. So I had like kind of one alright friend, and then I just remember getting bullied. And I just remember feeling like lonely, like really fucking lonely. And like I had a good family, my parents were loving, they brought me everything. I had a good brother, like I had a good life, but I was just so sad all the time. Like I was literally depressed, but like you don't know what, you're just sad. You're just a sad kid. Anyway, it just got worse and worse. And then one day, I was like, nah, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm fucking done. I can't, like literally couldn't cope. So I like tried to commit suicide when I was like 11 or I think I was 11 or something, or 10 years old. Yeah. So I tried to hang myself in my bedroom, and then I don't know how it didn't end up working. I was like, fuck, I can't even do this. Like it was, I know.
That's gnarly.
And then dude, like no one knows this, but I've been more open about it now because I think I've gone from that point to this the happiest in my life point. Yeah. So I'm just openly telling people, because I try to do that. And then I remember like left the belt like hanging from my bed. I just remember laying on the ground, just uncontrollably crying, like just literally tears pissing out of my face. And I just remember like hitting, like this is laying down on the ground. Like, I remember just like hitting my head up against my side of my bunk bed, just in tears, bawling my eyes out. And then my mum walked in and she like found obviously the belt and what me just distraught on the floor. And I just think, imagine the fucking negative emotions I would have put into my mother. Like imagine how like I've read this thing and it's like suicide doesn't stop the pain, it just moves it on. And imagine all this like negative, like it's overwhelming. How imagine just your son just killed himself and you find him in his bedroom. Like how selfish is that I thought my pain was like outweighed everyone else's or whatever. Yeah,
what it would cause.
But I got to that point, and then I can't even imagine putting something like that into someone. But then my parents found out and we talked about it, and then we realized that like why I was sad, and they moved me out of that school. And that's kind of around the time I found riding, and then I started getting better at riding, and then it just kind of snowballed into what it is now. And now I'm like, I feel like I have this want to tell people, because I'm sure there's so many kids that watch me that are going through the same shit, man. And I'm like, I went from that point of not wanting to be alive, and now all I want to do is fucking be alive. All I want to do is, I get so fucking happy just like talking to you, dude, it's fucking crazy. So now all I want to do is like show people that I was the point where I didn't want to be on this earth anymore, and now all I want to do is be on this earth and meet people and get that message across. And dude, imagine if one kid watched this podcast and was close to that point, or to like really something.
It fucking happens, bro. I get messages like that all the time.
If he watches that, and imagine if he sent me a message and he said, I was really sad, I was struggling at school, I was struggling at racing, I was struggling at just life, and I saw that you were at that point, and now you're fucking living your dream of racing your bike around the world and doing what you love and being this fucking happy. If like someone can see that and it changes their view on life or what they want to do, man, that's it. That's me. Like that's what I want to do. And now with racing, it's like I still want to do well in racing, but I feel like my racing is just to give me a platform to get messages like that across. Because, you know, we were talking about, like, we don't know why we want to be world champion.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be world champion because it's just there. Yeah. It's in front of you. But now, man, I'm like, I want to be world champion so I can have more eyes on me, so I can spread this message of just fucking being happy and doing what you want and just being excited and just general good energy, because that just spreads, man. It spreads to people. Every time I meet someone, I talk to them, I feel like when we talked to Taylor today, like I just feel better talking to him. I feel like a better person. If I can spread that message to you or to anyone, dude, that is what to me now, that's what life is all about. 100%. That's all I want to do.
And it'd be crazy to, you know, like win a world championship, because then there's power. Like, people will look at you that don't know you from the outside. It's like, good looking dude, rides for the fucking Scott Factory racing teams, been on World Cup podiums, and it's like, there's just a certain picture that gets painted, and then you think like that guy's just had it not had it easy.
Yeah, I
like,
know, and exactly what you're saying. Like he's probably, because my family, like my dad, like they were wealthy. He designed his own sawmill and sold it. Like, and he built himself up from nothing. But it's just like people look at that. Oh, he's like, parents got money. He's been silver spoon in his mouth the whole time. Which, like, I didn't live poorly or badly or anything. Like, I just lived normal. But that doesn't your mind.
Yeah, just because you got a rich dad doesn't mean that you fucking.
Yeah, it doesn't
it guarantees happiness.
Yeah, but people, I just want kids to look at this and be like, hey, like, you can be the best at something in the world, but it doesn't mean you start in a better place than where you are right now. It's like, you can start anywhere. Dude, I was like literally high school dropout that failed most of the tests I did at school, and I wasn't anything special, but I saw something I wanted to do, and I threw myself at it with everything I fucking had, and it worked. It paid off, and it was that one thing. And it's just, people need to find that one thing. And like that's another thing, people don't even know what they want to do. Like, that's the thing. People always come up to me and they're like, oh, you have the easiest job ever. And I was like, it's good, I love it, it's such a good job, but it's not easy. And then I always say to them, like, what do you want to do? Like, what's your dream job? Like, I don't know. And you're saying, so I've got the easiest job, but I had to pick what I wanted to do, and then I had to go after it, and then I had to put all this money into it, effort and time and everything to make it a reality. And then I asked you what you want to do, and you can't even give me an answer. And it's just like,
you're so right.
Yeah, so I'm like, dude, the biggest thing for people is like, just find something that interests you. Like, what makes you happy? You know,
and the best way to find out what you do want to do is find out what you don't want to do.
Yeah, like, just make a list of things you hate, make a thing of lists you love, and then try and like branch off different opportunities through those things.
And you're gonna think like, there'd be so many people like, I'm gonna fucking be a stand-up comedian, and then they do an open mic and they suck, and they're like, that's not for me. But then there's the guys like Luke Kidgel, and it's like, does it, sucks, and he's like, fuck, I feel like I could do better. Yeah, you know. And then that's so you find out what you do want to do by doing shit. You're either gonna not like it, and then you're gonna try something else that you do like.
It's that whole, you can't be scared of failing. It's a whole thing. You can't be scared of rejection or failure or anything. That's like when I've been going up to people, just randoms, and talking to them. It's like, they just tell me to fuck off, but most of the time they don't. But you don't know until you do it, and that's like anything. It's just like, you don't know until you do it. So why not just try and do it? It's like, if, like, my housemate at the moment, he just constantly comes home and tells me he hates his job. He openly says he hates it. He wants to change. He wants to do it. I go, okay, well, let's make a change. Let's do something different. He goes, oh, and then just finds reasons around why he shouldn't, like why he can't, or something. There's always an excuse or always something. And then anyway, he kept coming in saying he hated it. I was like, you can't just keep telling me you hate it, but then won't change it. I'm like, if you change it and you hate what you change it to, you're still in the same position. You haven't gone up or down or anything. You still hate it, whatever. But if you change it and it's really good, you know, and then you're like, oh, well, it's better. So it's like, if you're already in a shit position, you're in a shit position, like you can only go up kind of thing. You're at the base, so try something different. But that's the thing, people just need to, I don't know, just literally, like you say, what is it, the I, we and us?
I, we and all, yeah.
We and all. Like people, they don't think, like they think about everyone else. They think about like, if I do this, what will they think? Or if I do this job, will I be able to hang out with it? Like they think about all these different things, but it's like, you've got to start at the base, which is like which is obviously you, and be like, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
And why do I want to do that? And how will that like help me be a better person or help me view things differently? And once you sort that out, then like you say, you branch out and you branch out to everyone else, and then you'll be a better person doing it as well. Once you figure out in yourself what you want and what you can do, then it's like, well, okay, I know that now. I'm happier. Like I said, I'm happier now because I feel like I found out what I want to do. So now when I branch out to everyone else, I'm already better than I was before, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, start with you, get the base done. Once you're pretty happy with it, then go out and try and get others and talk to others and then get their ideas and stuff, and then like that can build something.
Yeah.
So that's like all you're doing is just imagine you're building a house. You're the foundation. You get people, tradies, and whatever else to come build like the columns and everything, and then like once you get everyone there, you got the roof, and then you got a fucking house.
Yeah.
So it's just like start with you, go to everyone else, and then I don't know. I just feel like that's the way to do it. Like everyone else is so concerned with social media and Facebook and YouTube and everything. It's like the broader range of everyone else.
Yeah. And it's an investment too. Like I actively nowadays, like I get up, I've been doing it for a while, but I sort of go spurts on and off, but like I try and get up and I read every morning.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not reading fucking Game of Thrones or like non-fiction shit. I'm reading stuff about different psychology, different books from like biographies from really great people, and it's like I know that I'm not a fucking idiot to think that I'm smart enough to figure all this shit out by myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why I think podcasts are really good and books. Like, if you fucking write a book that people buy, like you've put a lot of effort and time. Like, you obviously know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's like, I think that's why, that's why books have never, ever gone away. Like, they made books thousands of years ago. They've never, like, they make ebooks now, and but it's never fucking changed. Like, they're so valuable to humanity. But it's like that shit, and like even saying like how I'm trying to get in the water every day. Like I was in the water for fucking 2 minutes, but I was in the water today. Yeah. So it's like you actively have to invest in yourself, because as well, like you just don't know how to be happy. You don't just be happy. Yeah. It's like in one way that you do, but it's like I think happiness comes from understanding. Like you understand yourself. You know what, like you said with the thing that has happened in your past. It's like you understand why you feel that way. Yeah. Like you've got to sort of unpack all of the fucking data of experiences. It's all it's like a filing. You're a filing cabinet with all these emotions and reasons and experiences and everything, and you need to unravel that and work out why. But like you said, like with books and all that, how you get it makes you feel better, and that's part of like happiness, and you learn more and blah blah blah. Well, it's because I like understand more.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, oh, I could see that. And then I see how that applies to my life. I see that's a mistake that I've been making. You know, like, because there's so much like unconscious shit that you just don't even know. Like, we're just doing it. You don't know why you're doing it. Like, habits that are formed. Why do I do this every day? Yeah. Why do I have to watch porn 5 times a week? Why do I, there's weird shit that people do. Yeah. And it's like, it's so hard to change something or...
and people don't want to change it.
Fix something if they don't even know why it's broken. Yeah, they don't even look at themselves as being like there's a problem really, because it's just what they do. Yeah. But like you say, like you go to the water today and just jump in and out, but like it makes you feel better. Like I went to the beach this morning at 6 before I came and saw you, and I was saying to Chuck, this is so like cleansing and nice, like just being early morning on the beach, and like that makes you feel good. If that makes you feel good, that adds up to something else that makes you feel good. Yeah. That's what I mean. You just need to keep chasing these feelings, because that's all it really is. It's just feeling good or feeling shit or feeling whatever. Like that's the basis of everything. So I'm like, if you can find things you do every day that makes you feel a little bit better, like eat maybe better food or like go for a run or do all this stuff, like it's just gonna enhance your general well-being. Man, it's so crazy fucking easy to do. Like you can go 2 ways. For me, this is like the 2 ways I can go in the morning. The 2 ways I can go is watch it. But you can get up, go to the toilet, get on your phone, go to the couch, turn on YouTube, watch YouTube, go, fuck, I really need to go to work, have a shower, go to work. Yeah. And I don't feel amazing. Yeah. That's not a way that like fires me up to start that. I know this, right? The other way that I can get up and go to the toilet, check my phone, reply to shit that I need to reply to, put my phone down, read for an hour, get up, have a shower, go to work. And I feel better. I just know doesn't even matter if what I'm reading is good. It's like, to me, it's like, again, that beach thing.
Yeah.
I don't really know why you're going to feel good from just going for a swim for 1 minute. But I think it's more of a thing of like it's like an accomplishment to yourself. Like you've set a plan. Or like how bad do you feel when you like set an alarm and then you snooze it and then you sleep?
Yeah, and then
like
you
that's
just
a
end up,
shit
yeah,
feeling.
you end up sleeping because you feel like you've let yourself down
exactly.
there. And this is a thing where like if I told you I was going to meet you at 6, I'm going to meet you at 6. But if I told myself I'm going to get up and go to the gym at 6, you lose accountability for yourself. Yeah, and you should never do that because yourself is the most important person. Like if I didn't meet you at 6, I'm like, oh, you're gonna be a little bit mad at it. But if I didn't go to the gym, I didn't eat properly, like that's just all me. That's everything on me. That's like you were saying about how you can go about your morning. Like I started getting up at like 4:40 every morning and going to the gym, and I just started feeling better from it. Like I just felt good because I'm like, I'm up and then and then everyone's like, oh, it's so early, you'd be so tired through the day. And I was like, no, I feel better. Like I get more energy, and I just like would be leaving the gym, driving home or driving to go do something else or whatever, and people would like be going to work, and I'd be like happy because I'm like, I'm in front of you, like I'm already a step ahead of where you're at. And then I just kept doing it and I just kept feeling good. And then I'd have days where I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to sleep in. I'd sleep to like 8:30 or something, get up and then start the day slow, and then I'd be a bit like, I'd just say yawny and tired.
Yeah.
And I was like, we've literally I got to tell my brain, if I set an alarm for 4:40, I'm going to be more awake. Yeah. And it just doesn't like compute in your head how that works. Obviously, if you don't go to sleep super fucking late, but when I was waking up at 8, I just wake up drowsy and then just be like sleepy. I think because your sleep cycles or whatever go back into kind of a deep sleep, so you just wake up already kind of tired. Yeah. So, but it's just stuff like that you say. But I just did that, and then I got into a rhythm of it, and then I started making me feel better. So it's just like waking up at a different time can be so beneficial to how you feel. Yeah. Like if you wake up and eat like a proper meal, and then go for just a run or a walk or something, like that might make your whole week feel better.
100%.
Like, and it's just small things that people don't think about, or they don't feel like they just don't, they don't realize and they don't think about. And that's the thing I just want to get across to people is like, you do something small, whether like go feed the ducks or something that might bring a little bit of joy, that can snowball into something else. Because that's what I keep doing on this trip. I keep talking to someone like, oh, come do this. And I normally might be like, oh, no, I'm busy. I want to do this. I'm like, yep, I'll do that. And then that normally snowballs into something else. And you just kind of just keep saying yes to things and then having new experiences. It just builds and builds. Like today, I only met you today. So you think of that. And then I only met Taylor today. And then I met one of his friends. And I met I've met Sam and all these people. I'm like, I've got all these people I know now, and all those I'm sure could branch off into new adventures, new friendships, new stories, new everything. And that's all life's about, just new stuff, new things, new things to get your mind going and you like make you feel good and all that. Because I'm sure all the people I met today, if I wanted to go crash at their house, or if I was up here or wanted to go to the beach or something, like they'd be fine with it. Yeah. And that's the thing, it just like you attract good people, good energy, and if you give it off, people want to be around that. People want to be on that same channel.
Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, that's funny. Like we were at the beach in Byron. I was just there, and I was like, I just want to talk to people. Hey, like I just want to go meet people. I just don't want to sit here. I'm like, I'm in a new place. I don't know anyone. I was there with Chuck, but I didn't know anyone besides us. Yeah. I was like, let's go talk to some people, man.
Was that your first time in Byron ever?
First time in Byron. I reckon I was there for 3 hours, 4 hours or something. I met, I reckon, 12 people, 12 new people, genuinely nice, good people. And I was on the beach and they had these two girls sitting just up, like just talking on this towel. And I was like, oh, we'll go like, it sounded like a
creeper,
yeah. But like, I'll just go have a chat. So anyway,
they loved it.
So I went up and we just started talking. We were talking for a little bit, and then it was like, you guys are pretty fun. I'm like, follow me on Instagram. Like, I was like, what's your Instagram or whatever? So she like followed herself, and then she gives it back, and she had like 70K. And I was like, oh damn, we got like, I think I said you're an influencer or something. And she just laughed or whatever. And then I just, as a joke, I said, are you on The Bachelor? Because a friend of mine at home met this girl on this cruise in Croatia, and she was on The Bachelor. So I was like, just taking the piss, like literally just as a joke. And she's like, oh yeah, I was. And I was like, oh, what the fuck kind of thing. That's just random as. So then and they were just like really excited. I'm like, imagine someone that's on The Bachelor is obviously someone that's really excited and like just happy-go-lucky, and they obviously so I'm like, I feel like that's how we were being as well. And then I just got a photo with her, and all these people like, how do you meet these people? Like, what are you doing? Like, how does that a thing? And I was like, I literally just went up to someone and started talking to them, and we got along and we chatted to them for a while, and then went about our way. And that was it.
Yeah.
It was just a cool new experience.
And it's so easy not to do that.
Yeah, it's so easy. Yeah,
Because your head will it'll spit a million reasons out at you not to do it.
I'm a pretty shy person, to be honest. Like at the start, I'm never really like sure how to like get it started, because you just that worry of like, what happens if you go up to them and they just said piss off, like, and then you just feel that brings you down. But I'm like, if they said fuck off or whatever, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe we'll go talk to someone else then. Like, I feel like you can't get negative. Like, you can't you can't take that on board. You've just got to like, and that's what I don't do anymore. If they said piss off, I'd just be like, oh, and then be like, wonder why she's mad, and then probably go over my head, how did we make her not mad? Like, that's the kind of like, that's how my brain works now. And it's a weird way of like looking at things, but most of the time I'm like, if just say that was a friend, like she was not a random person, but she's like, oh, piss off or something, I'd try and work out why. And that's all I want to do now is work out why and get that out. But dude, that was just another cool experience, another cool person, and just another thing to just like keep this like journey going. But like you said, it's all about momentum. And if like, I don't want this momentum to stop, like I don't even want to go home. Like I've literally like messaged a friend back home and said, we're getting a house in Byron Bay, or we're getting a house near the Gold Coast or something, because I just feel good up here. I just feel like where I'm from, like I love where I grew up and where I live, and it's like really beautiful and pretty, but like everyone works kind of normal jobs, and everyone's like kind of stuck in this tunnel vision, I guess, and like just small-minded and stuff. Like a lot of people, it's not like I say it like that, but it's not a bad thing. Like they're just happy, they're content with what they do and where they live, and like that's fine. But I feel like I've seen so much of the world, and I've gone to all these cool places, and I've met cool people, and I just want to keep experiencing that. And I feel like coming up here, it's just opened my mind up a bit, and just the fact that I just keep meeting good people. Like it's just, I'm sure that obviously there's bad people around here, shit people, but I just haven't really bumped into them yet. And just everyone I've met so far, and just like the being on the coast, I think is really cool. Just there's so many things about it where I'm like, I need to be here.
I feel like Goldie's sort of starting to be a little bit like Australia's Hollywood.
Really?
I reckon, because in Hollywood, like no one's really from Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare. It's sort of becoming a place where it's like people move here.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's fucking heaps going on. They're doing this, they're doing that. Like this happens on the Goldie, this happens on the Goldie. And I mean, that brings its fair share of fuckwits as well though. Like because you sort of get people that are here for like kind of disingenuous reasons. Which is the same as Hollywood. But it's like, it sort of makes it, you know, like there's all these people that are like, I don't want to live in fucking, you know, Wagga Wagga anymore. I don't want to live in, I've got more, like I want to go to a place where there's other people. And I think like Byron's definitely got that vibe as well. Like if you're a free-spirited hippie kind of person, and it's like you're going to go there and you're going to be accepted. And if you come to the Gold Coast, it sort of seems like the same thing in a different way. It's like not in a hippie way, but it's like a I got sick of living in fucking Woy Woy. I want to be down here and around other people that got sick of where they wanted to be, and they wanted to make other shit happen. So I just think it's like, I feel like the Goldie is really starting to be like that, and maybe it has been for a really long time.
You haven't noticed? No, I do get what you're saying though, because
I feel the same way about Cairns. Like a lot of that's where we grew up, and it's like all of my friends just have, you know, I don't even really have that many friends from Cairns anymore. Like I've got my real close friends, but it's like I don't know that many people from there anymore. It's like they just weren't on the same sort of wavelength as I was, and I left.
To do different things,
and it's like I gravitate like Sam. Like Sam is from Tassie, and he lived in Tassie when we started being friends. But that connection of like, we're gonna fucking do cool shit, we're gonna charge on, like that transcended. Like I was in Cairns, he was in Tassie, and that friendship still existed based on that attitude, you know.
But those are the people you want to be around, people like that. Like I've got a friend in Newcastle, and when I was up there for a couple of days, went to like a music festival and hung out, but like every time I was with him, it was like we were talking about meaning, like just not like getting deep or anything, but like we just really points that you'd want to talk about with general life, and like really getting in depth into things, and just having good conversations, and just being around someone like that constantly makes you feel good and you think you make them feel good. Like that's the kind of people you want to be around. And that's another thing. I was like talking to him, I'm like, come to Byron, like we need to like make this happen, because like I've got a heap of awesome friends back where I live, like don't get me wrong, but just certain people, like they literally bring out the best in you, and you just like grab those people and like run, like just get them, and then the people that aren't like that, like run from them, like just get out of there. But like you say, it's like it could be like a bit less than Byron, because even when we were at Byron, there was like so many people there that I didn't heard so many people not even speak English. Like it's like such a definitely like a bit of a trip kind of thing. Like
that place is like a very that's like a fishbowl, like a very fucking certain type of person wants to go live in Byron, you know.
Yeah, well that's the thing I'm like worried about. Do I like it because it's a bit of like excitement now, or like will I get over it when I want to be like the racer, serious kind of guy that doesn't really go out and have like, but I kind of don't want to see, this is the thing, I don't want to like, because what I've done is normally I just like, when I start racing I get in this bubble where I don't like socialize as much and don't like, I just literally close off, train, race. And I think I'm just getting to the point now where I'm like, I just want to live life all year round and still be serious. So it's like you can find time to do everything. It's just how you balance it, how you schedule it, everything like that. Because I don't want to just be like, okay, Jan 1st or December 1st, I'm going to start training full time now. I can't talk to you. I can't see you. I can't go here. And that's kind of something I've always felt like I'm a bit like, as soon as training starts, I like lose a lot of my normal life. Yeah. Which is kind of like, it's the payoff for having such a good job is like, you've kind of gets locked down a bit. Yeah. So that's been something I've always battled with, is trying to like live a normal life within a racing season or whatever. And then like this year, like I had some free time after that Leger World Cup where I started to feel real good. I just went to Bali. I went to Singapore by myself, just hung out, just looked around Singapore literally by myself and had like a good time. And then went to Bali and met up with my housemate and just had a good time. And like all these people that I race with, like, why are you going to, like, what are you doing? Like, and looking at me like I was doing the wrong thing. I'm like, dude, I'm living life. Like, we don't get that many opportunities to do stuff. And I went and did this stuff, had a good time, got like refreshed, and then came back to the World Cup, and then went to my season, just kept going up and getting better. But it's just like, I like how these people look at it as like, what are you doing? And like they don't see the positives out of that. Like, I'm like, I'm going to go like, what's 5 days? I was running. I ran every day when I was in Singapore, and when I was in Bali, I ran as well. And I was like, just like keeping basic fitness, but I'm not going to like lose much bike skill or anything like that within 5 days or whatever.
It's and like Chad Reed don't fucking ride that much.
Yeah, dude, you got to, especially someone's done it so long, they've got to understand they don't want to burn themselves out from it. That's like when I was talking to Greg, like he finishes the season, doesn't touch a bike until like for 3 months. Yeah. And it's just like, you need to have a break. You need to switch your brain off, and you need to focus on other aspects of your life. Yeah. And then get them dialed in and be like, see your friends and do all this stuff. Like, that's what I mean. Like my off season gets like squished down from like start of September to normally the 1st of Jan, but it'll probably be the 1st of December this year because everything's been pushed back. But like, I just try and live as much life in there. But now I'm trying to be like, why don't I just live life the whole way through? Yeah. Like, why do I need to cram like a certain amount of time where I just enjoy life from September to January, and then the rest is going to be serious? So I'm just trying to work out, like, still I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I feel like you've got enough time in the day to be able to like train, see people, like you make time, you make your own time, and you can do cool things. Like I said, I've come up to see you, I brought a bike. Like if it was like middle of training, I'll just ride more. I'll go and do a gym session, or go do like a judo thing this morning, or like you can just work around things like that. Yeah. Like where the old me might have been like, oh, I can't come on the podcast, I've got to train. Yeah. Where I could have just worked ways around. We could have fit everything in. We could have done judo. We could have gone for a 2-hour bike ride. We could have done the podcast. And I could have got like, just there's ways around it, and that's what I've just got to figure out now. But like, I'm not even worried about trying to figure that out because so much love for doing it is back. Yeah. So it's like, if you're truly passionate about something and you have that love back, I'm like definitely like excited to go in and start doing all this, because I think it's just gonna flow smoothly and be good. Like even when we went riding today, man, like I had so much fun.
It was good, eh?
I had a ball. And even like when I'm like, I'll bring you an e-bike, like that's the shit I want to do, because I knew like that's a cool thing to come do.
Yeah, I was so stoked.
Yeah, I was like, that's the shit I want to do. And like I said, like you had fun. And the fact you have fun, it's like I get my $100, you get your $10. Yeah. Like everyone has a good time. That's the thing I'm into. So like, you just work these things out, and that's what I mean. Even with my party, like I kept trying to make it better. There's always something you can do to make it better. So then when I was like, I'll come on the podcast, I'm like, that's sick. I'm so glad you've given me the opportunity to come and present myself and to such a wider audience, which is helping me so much, because I'm sure people listen to this and be like, I related to things out of that, and like that gives me so much. So I'm like, well, I can take you for an e-bike ride. I have an e-bike, and it's not that hard. And then I was like, I got one, like just things to always, you can elevate everything you do. Like there's always something nicer you can do, or something better, or something. And that should be every aspect of life. You should always be saying, how do we get this better? How do we how do we improve this? Or how do we do more? Like that should be with everything, with relationships, with work, with friends. you should never settle for like, this is where we are and this is as good as it's going to be. Like, wouldn't you rather always be like, oh, I could take this girl out for dinner and do this, and then I could take her to the movies, and then we could do this, and like maybe we'll do this, and then it just snowballs into better things. Or if like I'm on the podcast and you do this and that, and just everything can be built on and can be improved on. And that's like what I'm just saying with just life now. Like everything, every aspect of it can be improved in some way, and it's up to you to do it and like make it happen.
That's why I love ASAP, like ASAP Rocky.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what ASAP stands for. Always strive and prosper.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're right. Like, you can put your fucking foot on the gas with everything.
Yeah.
Like, you can put your foot on the gas with fucking gardening or cleaning your house, or
and you feel
it's like
better doing it.
Yeah. Like, well, that's what we're like task orientated beings that get a lot from solving problems.
Yeah.
So it's like, just starts. Like, that's one thing, dude, that we've got this new segment. Oh, fucking new segment drop. I haven't even told anyone about it.
We need some sound effects coming in. We need a bomb going off.
So we're going to do a new segment called Gypsy Gang News.
Yeah.
And it's going to be it'll probably, I want it to be daily, so it'll be like a minute worth or 2 minutes every day of like news clips. But it's about, because we're over 100 episodes of the podcast.
How many are you actually up to?
100 and something. 104 or 103.
Oh, just cracked it.
Like just cracked 100.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's 100 really cool fucking people. Or like, well, it'd be a little bit less because it'd repeat guests. But so like, I want to do this new segment where it's like, after this, it's like, I'll report on your first race. Yeah. So it's like, Dean Lucas fucking crashed his brains out at World Champs, fucking kook.
Yeah.
But so it's like that sort of thing. But dude, it's been in the works for so long, and I've got like music that I needed to get done for it. Like, so there's going to be actually like it'll have like its own music, and it'll have like a graphics package, so it'll look fucking really cool.
I'm glad we're dropping this on this one, because I think if people weren't pumped already, now they're getting real pumped.
But like,
because we're lifting it, make it. How do you make things better? That's what I mean.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is my thing, but the problem is like, I've kind of avoided it because there is a bit of work. But yesterday, so I had essentially 3 emails. The first email is for my graphic designer to do the logo. The second email was for the motion graphics chick to do the motion graphics, and then the third email was to my homie Bricks, who's going to do the music. Yeah. And it's like, that's 3 things that's been on my mind. It's something I want to produce. It's this thing that I want to make. And it's like, 3 emails have fucking stalled it out. So yesterday I just did I was like, if I do one thing today, it's all these 3 emails. And I got them all done. I felt way better. Good, I solved a problem. I've got something going. I got replies to everything, and now the ball is rolling. Like, people are working on that thing.
See, this is exactly what I mean when I'm like you've got all these dreams in your head, thoughts in your head, and everything. And that's why I got this tattoo, and it's as a quote that said, "Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision is just passing the time, and then vision with action can change the world." And like, that doesn't have to be broad as like you actually change the world, but you can change your world. If you have a dream and you tell yourself more than once or twice, if it's just constantly there, do it. Like, just fucking do it. Grab it and do it. Like, that's the thing I just want to get across, because like, once this is done, once you've got all your friends and you've organized everything and you've built it and it's a thing, and I get to watch it, and obviously you're going to get so much out of it because everyone else is getting so much out of it as well. Like, you've made something. Yeah. And that's how like everything should be. If you've got an idea in your head, put it into reality, make it into a thing. And that's like, I feel like that's all I want to get. That's what you need to get across to people, because like, I'd always talk about how I miss my old van and I loved it. I should get a new van. I just always talked about it, but I never did it. And then as soon as I did it, man, so happy, because it's like, you just reinforce it in your brain. That's what you want to do, and you're always doing it, but you just, like you said, you like 3 emails. Yeah. But you don't do it. But why? We're saying like, you go for a swim, you feel better. Yeah. Like, that's exactly the same thing. You talk about emails, you do it, you feel better.
We just got resistance, man. Like, there's something, it's something I'm trying to read a lot more about and like really learn about, because I feel like that's the one thing that's just like crippled all of my potential that I've had as a like, well, even as a kid, is just like, you just met with this resistance, and then you're like the reasons you tell yourself why you shouldn't do something, even though it's something you really want to do. Yeah. And it's like, why do we have that resistance?
Yeah. And how do we
overcome it? And it's like, at the moment, I'm just going like, fuck, I just have to do it. I have to do it. I think a bit of it is like, I was talking to my uncle. Well, I was talking to Glenn about it, Jacobs, and he was in here the other day because he's like, oh, this is the first time he's seen the studio. he was like, I'm so fucking proud of you, man. Like, he was like literally like so happy. He was like hugging me and shit, and he's just like, just from standing in the room, he's like, this is amazing, like you've done so good. And he's like, I think it honestly was like, he probably wouldn't admit it, but I think it was this thing where he was almost like, finally
he's done it, he's done what he said,
you've done something that, like, this is your potential, like you're living up to something that like this is a great thing.
And I'm sure he probably would have pushed you into, like, if you talked to him about it, I'm sure he would have been someone that
he always has with all my ideas,
has been behind it. So it's like, if you've done it, that's like that's like a big thing for him, that because he probably feels in a way that he's helped make this a reality, which he obviously has, because he would have said kind words and like supportive words towards it and all that, dude. That just, I think that brings down, you know, we put up these barriers. Other people's contribution to that, they chip away at it. They're the ones that chip away at, like, if you say, I want to be world champion, or I want to go to Brazil, or I want to do anything, and then you get reinforcement from all your friends saying, yes, you should do that, blah, 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 that chips away at the doubt and that gets rid of it. But you might get one person that says you're an idiot for trying that, and that just fucking, that
brings you back
brings
down.
The wall back up. Like, no, I'm not doing it. So it's like, but the thing is, you shouldn't get that. You should just, the thing that I'm trying to do now is, I don't really care what anyone thinks I should do or wants me to do or doesn't want me to do. I just have to look in myself and be like, I want to do this for these reasons. I believe them. I've thought about this very hard, and this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And then if I tell someone and they don't like it, like, I've already come to the conclusion. So I've already read seen the ending. I know what's going to happen. So I don't really care about these other things. But yeah, man, it's like you say, it's how you get rid of those walls. Yeah. And it is a hard thing to do. Like, I'm not saying I know exactly what to do. I'm just saying I've gotten a lot better at it recently. They're breaking them down.
But that's the thing, is like, you'll never really know. Like, that's like Taylor with his ice bath thing. It's like, when you like look at him and he's sitting in there and he looks all calm, it's like, you just think like, man, fucking guy, like, he can just do it. I hate doing that. I'm so cold when I get in the ice bars, and I struggle. Like, I say that, I'm like, I struggle so hard. And you look at Taylor, but it's like, you don't look at him, like, you look at him and you think he's not struggling. No, he's struggling. He's just still fucking doing it. Yeah, and just fighting through it, like, in his own head, obviously in his mind. It's like, it never gets easier. It never gets better. It's like, you just get better at dealing with it. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's everything. Like, I hate when people will look at, like, a professional athlete of any sort and they'll be like, oh, he's got it easy. Like, imagine LeBron James. He trains so hard. Dude, he spends like $4 million a year on physios for himself. It's like, it's something fucking crazy. I'll try and bring it up. But that's what I mean, man. Like, everyone, like, imagine Michael Jordan. It's like everyone said, first in the gym, last out. Every time, and it's just like, that's like. Have you seen that? There's a picture of James is said to spend 7 figures a year. One report saying $1.5 million to take care of his body. That covers the cost from his home gym, trainers, massage therapists, chefs, appliances, and more. Yeah, honestly, I thought that is committed as fuck. And it's probably even more than that, because obviously they're not going to get everything. But yeah, so it's like, you look at it, spend that on your body. But that's what I mean, man. Like, that's not easy. Yeah, yeah, and you obviously, you got to find the right physios. You got to do the research. You got to do all this stuff, but people just don't even think about it. And then you got to do the work when the physio's in the fucking room. Yeah, you know, you've got to like lay on the table, go through the pain of getting the kind of massages that LeBron James is getting aren't fucking fun. Just soothing. Yeah, you know, like a little Asian lady on your back telling you, whispering in your ear. Yeah, he's like getting fucking work done, you know. Yeah, but that's like. I can't imagine how anyone could see anyone as being the best in the world at anything and being like, oh, I got it easy. Like, no matter if you were playing ping pong, like, well, that's probably not a good example because that's crazy hard, but like, even the simplest thing, like being a dart thrower, or like being a world champion dart thrower, you've probably got to get up and throw darts 8 hours a day. Now, I'm not saying like that's like, it's just, there's a challenge to it. You've got to put yourself into it, and you've got to be committed to it for like large amounts of time. Like, I started racing bikes when I was 12 years old, and I'm 24 now, and it's just like all that time has been building me up to this point. And then it's like people, it's like I wasn't getting paid until I was like, what, 22 or 21 or something, but I started racing, so I was like 10 years. Imagine if you went to university for 10 years and then you might not even get a degree. Yeah, like you might just be like, oh no, you didn't make the cut, sorry. Which it happens to plenty of people. So many people, way more than people don't have contracts and do. So it happens to a lot of people, but some people are lucky, like myself. But it's just like, I've worked for 10 years to get something that's like not even like what you'd be getting paid if you got a uni degree. And it's just like,
How is that easy? How do you like? And then I'm sure for basketballers, like it's way more of a larger field, so there's more people that want to try and do it, and it's just I just don't understand how people view it as being easy or like they've got it good or whatever. Like
I think it's because people like they'll go, fuck yeah, I want to be LeBron James, and then they go play one game of pickup basketball. And then they get their ass kicked and they're like, oh, this is fucking like, this is hard for me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So then they expect that somebody that does do it, it must be easy for them.
Yeah.
Because their experience is hard and they know, oh, I could never make it. So they just stop.
Yeah, they think LeBron James came out of his mother dribbling a basketball and he was just like, oh, he's got this special talent. Yeah. And it's just like, no, you work fucking real hard and you need to constantly work. Like that's the thing. It doesn't stop. It's like if you want to be the best in the world, you don't at basketball. Do you think LeBron James go, hey, I'm going to stop playing basketball for a year and come back and still be where I'm at? It's just constantly working on it. But once, like obviously for him, he obviously loves it, and it's something that like he's found that he loves. So it's like it is easy in that regard because it's not work.
It's easy because like the reason that you're doing it, it's like you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah. So feeling that's like everyone. People try and do stuff they don't truly love, and they're never going to be the best at it. And that's what I was saying before, how I found this love for racing again, and I'm doing better because of it. And it's just like it's crazy. Like you're never going to be the best at anything in the world if you don't generally love it. And the fact that I've loved it again is like that's the biggest battle. We've crossed that. Now all I need to do is like everything else that goes along with that.
It's easy to in sports that like you look at Ken Roxon, like he gets paid millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So it's like, and basketball and Tom Brady, and you see those guys, like it's kind of easy to see like the appeal to doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, I guess like if I work my ass off, I'll make millions of dollars. But you look at like downhill is a pretty good example. Like the dudes at the top, I guess they're making pretty good money these days.
Yeah.
But like in jiu-jitsu terms, like you look at that, like for how hard it is to me to just train for a week, like by Thursday I can barely get out of bed.
Yeah.
For what?
Dude,
like, you know, for really no, like there's no financial gain. There's like I just enjoy it. And then I look at a guy, like the best dude in the sport in jiu-jitsu is Gordon Ryan. Yeah. And he's like a 24-year-old kid from New York. And it's like that dude still, he doesn't make that much money. He goes from like Jersey or whatever to New York City. Yeah. It's a 2-hour trip. He stays there, trains all day through the morning. Then he goes another 2-hour trip back to New Jersey. Then he does more sessions at night, and then he goes home and he sleeps, and then he gets up and he does it all again. Yeah. So for this dude to love it, hey? And it's like that's what it takes. Like it takes that shit. And if he was getting paid millions of dollars, like he'd probably fucking move to New York so he didn't have to do that. But it's like he'd still do the same thing.
That's like you see or you hear about billionaires or millionaires or whatever, they don't stop working. They do it because that's their thing. They found what they love to do, and like they could just be on a beach drinking like pina coladas and doing fuck all, but that's not what feels good. And it's like it feels good like making money, being successful, like doing all that stuff. And then obviously for the what was his name again?
Who's that?
The jiu-jitsu guy.
Oh, like Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, like that's obviously his thing. He just like that's what he wants to do, and he gets so much out of it. So it's like it doesn't really matter. Like he's got his thing. Yeah, that's like what people don't. I don't know. They don't find their thing. Yeah, they don't know what their thing is.
It's fucking hard though. Like I don't know whether everybody can be that guy. I don't know. Like
no,
maybe
I'm convinced that everyone has more than they think inside of them.
I definitely think that.
If they actually like just, I was going to say, pick something that you kind of want to do and then put a year into that and just see where you go. Yeah. Like just even not a year, 6 months, and just have 2 hours a day or an hour a day or something, small amount, and then pursue that. Like if it's like learning French or like learning how to dance or play basketball or something, and just even a week, like 10 minutes a week or something, or an hour, like just a small amount of time, but consistently do it for an amount of time that you don't think you could probably do.
The average person could get really fucking good at anything.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Anything. I don't know that everybody could be like Loic Bruni or fucking.
No, see, that's the thing. I reckon you can. You reckon you can? I reckon you can, 100%. Yeah. I have faith in everyone. Everyone's the same, man. Everyone comes out the same and thinks the same. It's what you put into that person's head, what you fill like that jar up with, is how they can do it. But like I told you before, man, I was like I never thought I wanted to be here, but like what's different to me and another kid? Like,
yeah, I feel like with
I feel like I just got the I literally think everyone can do whatever they really want if they really invest. It's how much you want it. It's how much you truly want it and why you want it. I think once you sort those two things out, and you've got that drive, you can do most things. Like realistically, you can if you put your mind to it and you invest and you truly believe in it, I'm 100% you can do what you want.
I reckon that with the be interesting to get your like take on this, because I think that there's with athletes that go fast, like there's definitely a thing that I think there's genetically something different. Like when you so like James Stewart and me, going into the same turn, like he's gonna hit the brakes 30-40 meters further into the corner, but he'll have the same feeling as me, like fuck, I need to hit the brakes, like that feeling where you just grab him. So but I think guys like that, they just get it further down the road. So there's something that's going on in their brain where they just don't get that urge to hit the brakes in the same way that I do.
I honestly just think that just comes down to just repetition, constant repetition, because you think how many times it's just repetition and then a bit of confidence and then a bit of just like the unknown. Because I know I do that when I for example, when I like had my worlds run that I was showing you guys today, like I just came into sections and like practiced all week, but then you just, in my race run, I just pushed that little bit harder. Like I went outside of my comfort zone, and I think that's what makes you improve yourself, is just putting yourself outside that comfort zone. And dude, like I remember being at Worlds, and I remember in the morning I just felt really good, and then literally my last practice run, I'm like, I'm feeling so good, I reckon I could win this thing. Like in my head, I put that thought into my head, and then in my race run for finals, I was like just excited again. I was like, I'm so keen to do this, like I'm really excited to do this, and I just like went all out at the top, and I just literally just, like you say, off the brakes a bit later, came into sections hotter than I had before, and it was just paying off, man. I was like, it's just working, but you gotta like, I didn't know. I just literally I jumped into sections, and I know I didn't brake where I'd normally brake. I braked later and I went further, and it was just working. And dude, it was crazy. Like I was on such a high in that run, and then when I looked back and saw I was the fastest at the first split, I was like,
that makes sense.
That like I was like out, like not out. I wouldn't say out of control, just out of my comfort zone, and it was working. And man, I was on such a high. Like it was crazy. Even when I crashed in that run, I got to the bottom, and I wasn't angry. I was so content with like, I'm so happy that I literally just put everything I had into that run. It didn't pay off, but I was on such a high still that I'm like, I gave it everything, and I like had these feelings that are like, I lived. Like I like, it's funny because I talked to Loic at West Virginia the week later at Snowshoe, and I went up to him and I was like, oh, congrats on the win and all that. We're talking, and I was like, it came up about how he felt, and he said, yeah, he pushed outside of his comfort zone, and obviously it paid off for him and he won. But I had the exact same feeling as him, and he won and I crashed and got whatever. But like,
you both felt as good as each other.
Yeah, we
almost,
felt like, and that's how people like. That's what I mean. You can't break down a crash and take away from all this good energy and good things that you felt.
I like what you said with that, when you said that you can't, like, just because you might not win or you might not have got the result that you wanted, like you should still be happy with like all the rest of it, like that you're around good people, you're around your team, you had fans cheering you on, and you know,
it's just
like,
a good scenario.
Take away what you can out of the situation.
That 3 minutes shouldn't determine whether you're happy or sad, because the rest of my week was so good. And the fact that I haven't felt like that in a race run, almost like rare occasions I've felt like I've pushed that hard and felt like that.
Do you think you could channel that now?
I hope so. That's why I went to talk with Taylor and that, and try and work out ways around that, because if I can get in that zone and just be in that zone and go like that, I honestly am convinced I could be one of the fastest guys. Like I feel like generally if I can get in that zone, do it. Like I was first, man. I did it for a minute. All I got to do is do it for another 4 minutes and we're fucking there. But that's what I'm trying to work out. If I can work that out, which I'm trying, I'm like, want to push towards it. I think I'm on the right direction, but I think that'd be so cool. But I just want to get those feelings. But the coolest thing, how I was saying, like Loic won, I crashed and burned and got last, but we had the same feeling. Yeah. And that's what I want to get across to people. You don't have to win a world championship to feel that unknown, excited, everything feeling. I felt that. Like obviously if I won, I would have enhanced it and got even more. But I was like, hey, I crashed and I still got it. It's cool experience. Love being. My dad came and watched. That was awesome. Like, I remember he came up to me afterwards and he's like, "Oh, buddy," and like tapped me on the shoulder. I was like, "That was cool, wasn't it?" Like, I was excited. And
that's pretty sick, man.
And then he was like everyone was, they didn't understand my reaction. They couldn't comprehend that I was like, but they obviously didn't feel what I felt. So I don't understand. They're just like surprised. And when you surprise people like that, it's cool. If you do something to someone and they're generally shocked by it, and that's what I mean. I changed, like he came up to me sad and whatever, and I just straight away changed it to happy and excited. I get, like, that's what I mean. Like, why put these shit feelings into each other? Why not just channel good shit all the time? And I know there's times when you're gonna be down and like you can't help it or whatever, but just try and get through that the best you can and then work out ways to get better. But see, man, I've always kind of been doing this stuff, but I've never really I haven't been able to get it across to people properly until quite recently, where I feel like I tell you, this is my purpose, this is my thing. Yeah. And now that I feel like I found it, all these other things I've done in the past are like, oh, that makes sense. And that makes sense because of that. Like you
do have those moments though where you have like that insane like clarity. And you take it, like, as weird as it sounds, it was at fucking, this will sound like the shittest story ever.
Where are we going to start here?
It was X Games after party.
This is only up from here.
But it's like that, you wouldn't think like that would be this profound experience, but I did like a lot of MDMA that night, and I had
that'll do it.
But I really I legit had something that I took away forever. Like I was.
That's the thing. And then people, even I kind of did it then, but people would be like, "Oh, that's because you did MD," and they attack it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I did it then like kind of jokingly, but like, you've just told me you've had this experience that like life changing and like so positive and good, and then everyone's reaction to that is like to attack it and say why, and they know better and whatever. Where what you need to do is take that and be like, fuck yeah, man, that is fucking awesome that you've gotten your mind or your body or everything together to this point of like pure bliss or happiness or like euphoric. Oh, dude,
it was just a crazy thing, because I was just with I was with Sam, I was with like all my mates, and then I did that, and then the music was awesome, and it was
a combination. It's not one thing. It's everything together.
Everything come together, and it was just like so fun. I saw Harley, like, who I hadn't seen Harley in ages, and then like we were fucking partying and dancing, and like everything felt, I just got like a new appreciation for everything, and it's like, obviously, fucking, you're on drugs, bro. It feels good. That's what it's supposed to be. But it's like, it almost is like, I changed how I thought about it. It wasn't like, you're happy because of this, or it's like, it's just the drugs gave you this. I was like, no, this feeling just exists.
Yeah, it's different. Like it's a different feeling. Yeah, it's just like literally a level up, and then once you're there, you're just like, holy shit.
That could be what you found with that race run.
Yeah,
so it's like, you're like, oh, this feeling exists now. Like, I can channel this like energy or whatever it is.
It's crazy to explain to people that there are new feelings.
Yeah,
like, because I didn't know there was new feelings. Like, I know like you feel certain things, but never to this extent. Yeah, and then when you feel it, you're just like I said, I felt it, and now it's literally like I could feel this good, and then I felt this good. And now I've kind of always feel this good. Like it's brought the two closer together. Yeah. Like it's like I'm not that happy all the time, but it's been my standard happiness up to this point. And I feel like if you do something else like that, it'll bring it up and just keep bringing it up and up and up. Yeah. And just keep growing and making it better. That's what I mean. Like when you're talking about doing this new series thing, and I had the party, and it's just like, if you can build things and do things in your life and bring people together and all this stuff, that's just going to keep leveling up your happiness. Yeah. Because you know how you said you had all good people around you? When I had my birthday, I had a friend from Newcastle, the one I was talking to you before, how like we have really good chats. Yeah, yeah. And then I had a really close friend from back where I live. So one's Young East, one's Harry Jones. If they're listening, they're probably gonna love it. But anyway, like I really like the two guys, and I just know they're like they'll get along. I just know they're like peas in a pod. They're perfect together, but they never see each other. Yeah. And I remember like the party was going on, and I came back to my van, opened the door, and they were just both like sitting there with a heap of other people, but they were sitting in there together. And I just saw them chatting, having a good time, and man, I was like overwhelmed with happiness that like I made that happen. I got these two people that I know are gonna have such a good time together, and just be positive and good energy and all this shit. And I was like, I brought that together. I made that happen. And then, you know, say I get the $100 back, like I got like $1,000 back then. Like that was what I want to do. And I like literally joked about it. Like I feel like I found my new meaning. And then I'm like, this is my meaning. This is what I want to do. This makes me the happiest.
Yeah.
Like, you think if I buy, like if I go to Europe or something, or see a cool sunset, or like buy a motorbike, or do all this stuff, you think like possessions and all these other things. Like, it's almost like junk food highs. It's just like a quick hit of feeling good. You buy clothes, like you feel a little bit better, but it goes away.
Yeah.
You do stuff like that. It's literally like the same as eating junk food. You feel good for a little bit, and then it slowly goes away. You don't have to feel bad about it, but it's gone. It's irrelevant. But like bringing those people together and giving them a good time, that just hangs around. That never leaves. That's always there. And that's like anything. If you like, I meet new people and like, it's just always there. It's a good experience. It's a good experience in their life. It's a good experience in mine. It just hangs around there. And that's all I'm trying to do now, is like have more and more of those experiences that just to make them feel better, make me feel better. Just, I don't know. That's just it now. That's all it's so funny that even talking about it now, I feel like I can get it across so much better. Like, I've always kind of thought about it, but now like I just really feel like I can present myself how I feel better. Yeah. Because I'll talk to close friends of mine and they don't know how to get feelings across, which I struggled with as well. Like, I've got some close friends when like you start talking about something like that and they'll just go quiet, but they just don't know. Like, they're not angry or sad or anything. They just don't know how to put their feelings into words. Yeah. And I struggled with that for ages, up until like literally recently. And now all I try and do is like just start talking to them, tell them how I feel, and that normally that can kind of open them up a bit, and you get an idea about how they're feeling. But dude, it's like, it's not easy. It's not like an easy thing. Like, literally bringing up your true
it's called
fear.
Vulnerability, right?
Yeah. And you don't know how like you're gonna react, or they're like, it's just unknown. And I think the scariest thing for them, because imagine if you said something to them they were really like didn't want to talk about, and then you shut it down, or you said something, that just reinforces that negativity. Yeah. And that's why, you know how I talked about my suicide thing when I was a kid. Like, I was so ashamed of that. I couldn't tell. Only my parents knew, and like close family members.
When was the first time you talked about that to somebody?
Oh, I think maybe I talked about it with friends from school one time, and it was just like just brought it up and like talked about it, but not really.
How did people react to it?
Just not badly or anything. They were kind of just a bit like shocked.
Surprised.
Shocked, yeah, because I was like, I am who I am now. Like, I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy. So I think for people to see someone that is so excited on life, that's what I mean, they never would think I was that sad. But I feel like most people that like have a really happy-go-lucky people probably had something in their life like that. Like, you just don't know. But it wasn't till quite recently when I was like openly talking about it, because I started openly talking about it with my friends, and I didn't know how they were going to react. Most people like give me a hug and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if they think I'm still sad or something, but I'm like, no, like, I'm saying this to like complete opposite. Like, I'm so open about this now because I am so happy, and I feel like I can use this as a tool to help other people. Like, I feel like if that's what I mean, if people can see someone that was like that and then changed, that might change them in a way, and that's all I want to do. But it's just, I honestly have no idea why. I just want to get this message across, but I do. I feel like I just want to help people, and I want people to just see it in that light and see that like not everyone is how you thought they started off, or whatever.
Well, I think that shit is important. Like, even we've had a bunch of people that have come on the show and said that they've had those sort of struggles, and it's like you always get messages from people that are like, it's so fucking cool to know that somebody that's done so much and has this perfect life also has those struggles, because I think it makes like
no one can see inside your brain.
Because there's nothing worse than like struggling, and then you see people and you look up to people, and then you think that they're like that because they don't have the problems. But it's like, no, they still have the problems. Like, there is hope for you to have these problems and have these thoughts and still achieve what you want to achieve.
And I think I almost felt like, I don't want to sound arrogant by saying like, oh, I was there and now I'm here. I'm like, kind of like, I'm so much better or whatever. Like, I felt like that was a part of it. Like,
I don't think that's what's...
No, I know. I've kind of thought about it, and that's why I was like, no, I don't think people are going to think that. I think they'll generally be like, okay, like, he's trying to make it a better thing. But you look at someone like Robbie Williams, he like, happiest guy in the world. He committed suicide. Like, imagine who would pick that guy. He'd be the last person on a list of people that commit suicide. Yeah. But you don't know. You don't know where his head's at. You don't know what's happening.
That's like, Robin Williams, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like,
sorry, when I say Robbie Williams.
Robbie. The same thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, actually, there is a dude called Robbie Williams.
Yeah, there is a singer, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's right. Robin Williams.
Yeah, sorry, we cleared that up. But I think the biggest thing now is like you just need like that's what I want to tell to any kids listening to this, like young kids, if you're sad or happy, like just talk to people, like literally talk to your parents, talk to your friends, just get it known that like you're feeling the way you're feeling, and then they can help you like see things different ways. But just talk about it. Like I just didn't talk about it. I was just sad. I literally just locked it all in. And I'm sure if I told my parents how sad I was and what was happening, they probably would have put me in a new school earlier. And like,
so what was it? Just bullying?
It was not even just like bullying. I was just lonely. Hey, like I had literally no friends in my year. Like I had a girl that was kind of my friend, and then a guy. Like I was a small public school. Like I was a tiny little school. I was like, and then just like after school, it was like me and my brother and my parents, and we were like pretty remote area. So I just be by myself a lot. I just be like a lonely kid. I wasn't that smart at school. I like struggled a lot. We didn't actually learn that much. So I just felt like, I just didn't have that much to kind of give, and I just got to a point where I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick of it.
Do you remember that stage pretty well?
No, not so much leading into it. I just remember those parts of it that was like, I just hated school. I didn't have any friends. I was getting like bullied a bit, and then I just felt lonely. I felt really lonely. I felt like I just didn't really have anyone, and I'd made that myself by not talking to people. Yeah, but that's how I felt. But I just like. To that point, like I'm sure if I talked to people back then, it would have probably worked
like your
out better.
parents probably had no idea.
No, like I think they thought I was happy. I think like they knew I was a bit like sad with certain things, but I know after that happened, like they would definitely like they did everything they could to make it better, and it did. Like that was the thing. And then if I talked to them, I probably wouldn't even got to that point, because if I talked to them and told them how I actually felt, I'm sure they could have pulled me out of school and changed schools, and then maybe would have found right, and all this stuff could have happened. Like it didn't, because that's exactly what happened once they found out what I almost tried to do. Like that's when they like all the actions started happening. Yeah. But I could have just prevented all that by just talking to them. Yeah. And that's what like if dude, one sad kid out there, just right now, go talk to your mum, go talk to your dad, tell them why you're sad, tell them what you why you're in this position, or what you want to do to change it, or how you think, like just something, just bring the conversation up. Like I know like some people, like parents are like the kind of stand like it's hard to get emotion out of it. But I'm sure if you
especially like generational, I feel like if you're a kid these days, your parents have probably, if your parents are in their 30s or 40s, then it's like they would have like lived through this generation, but like our parents' generation, I can definitely see why. Like I didn't think I could really talk to my dad about this kind of shit. Yeah. Like I will now. But I think the world's changed. Like there's less of a stigma around. Yeah, it's more. And like even I was thinking the other day, like fuck, half the time this podcast is just dudes talking about their feelings, and it's like that's not what I wasn't like I'm gonna have a podcast where guys can talk about their feelings. But like it's fucking super necessary. Yeah, like people have, like we all have feelings, and like that's that book that I'm reading at the moment, that How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was written in the 30s, and it's like
it's still relevant.
Yeah, well, the guy then he's like, people want to understand human interactions, like because conversation and the ability to work together and the ability to get along in groups, like the largest I think like the largest primate group other than humans is like 150 people. That's it. It maxes out. There can't be, I think that it's like a chimpanzee troop that has 150 chimps in it. Yeah. And it's like we live in cities with millions and millions of people. Yeah. So it's like, and the one thing that we have that they don't is like a complex language. Yeah. Like we can talk, we can converse, we can have these deep conversations. So it's like that, literally like the fabric of our society is built on talking to people. And it's like if you can't understand how to communicate what you're feeling, the way you're interacting, like then you're a fucking monkey. Like you're just one of those monkeys that like isn't able to fucking live in society.
Exactly. And I hate when people say they're shy. I'm like, everyone's shy and everyone's got anxiety. Like, people are like, she's got anxiety and she's shy, or he's got anxiety and he's shy, and just like
everybody has anxiety.
Everyone has that.
It's called stress.
And then I was just like, but you don't think if you maybe just, because the thing I've listened to Joe Rogan, and he did a thing with Dan Bilzerian where they just said he just started going up to people like girls and stuff and just start talking to them, and just like you get better at it.
I feel like Dan Bilzerian read The Game at some point.
He probably did.
Have you read The Game?
I have not read it.
It's actually worth reading.
But that's what I mean. It's just like, just go talk to people.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I might fail, it might not, but it's just like lifting weights, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike, you're going to get better at it. Talking to people, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I've started doing this small podcast myself, and I travel around the world. I'm always constantly meeting new people.
Yeah.
And that's obviously trained me into being better at conversing with people. And you do this podcast, and that's all. It's your job is to talk to people.
Yeah.
So when I got the opportunity, I can come talk to you. I was like, dude, like it's just gonna be good. And then and that's why I wanted to meet Taylor as well. I'm like, it's just gonna be a good thing. Like, that's all I want to do now. And when you gave me the opportunity, I was like, dude, this, like, we met off and just didn't stop talking straight away.
Yeah.
And it's just like, those are the kind of people I want to meet.
Yeah.
The people that just like, we're not just standing around fucking pulling our dicks doing nothing. Like, it's just boring, pointless conversation. So I know, I think, if more people just learn how to talk and get their feelings across
and listen.
Yeah. And listen as well.
Yeah.
It's like, once you can actually work that out, it just life flows a lot better. And you attract better people, and it just all works. It just becomes a better thing.
Have you, like, what made you start doing the podcast? And have you found, like, how many episodes do you reckon you would have done?
I've done 10 now.
Yeah,
I've done 10 episodes. I started off, actually, me and Charlie Harrison were going to do, like, an after race, like, because you know how, like, after basketball games, they have, like, a run through of, like, the, like, how the match went and who was best player and, like, what's happening. Yeah. So it was more just to be, like, Greg Minard, like, just talk about the weekend. Like, he got second, but I'd be like, oh, he's coming back from injury, and like talk, just literally an after, like a talk show,
just like a debrief.
Yeah, debrief, because no one does that. I was like, that'd be cool. Like, no one does that. That'd be fun. I'm just like, we get a heap of free time after races while we're going to the next race, or like, we just get a heap of downtime. So I was like, that'd be a cool thing. And then I started doing it. I went to do it at a race, but it was just hard because Charlie was on a different team. So I was kind of trying to constantly.
What teams he ride for?
He rides for Trek.
Oh, okay.
And I was on Scott, so I was trying to organise to meet up with him and then do it all, and it was just too hard to kind of organise it all.
Yeah.
Because we have like, and then we were going to try and get guests on as well and talk about how they're fit and like kind of do that. So it was going to be more of a talk show than a podcast kind of thing, even though we're just going to record anyway. Anyway, we went to the first. It was in Leo Gang where I did my first one. I didn't even fucking record the first one. So I did Brooke McDonald.
So awesome.
I did Brooke McDonald.
Oh, shout out to the homie.
Yeah, hopefully he's getting better.
I'm going to see him in a couple of weeks.
Are you?
Yeah. He's going on the podcast.
He is.
Yeah, I'm going to his place.
Fuck yeah, give him my love. He's fucking awesome.
He's
dude.
a fucking G, that guy.
Dude, he's solid dude.
Dude, so he comes up because he's been listening to the podcast as well. Fucking all you mountain bike dudes listen to this,
good,
which
dude,
is weird.
It's good. It's a good thing. It's fucking
like him and Win and fucking all those boys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he come up to me and it was pretty funny actually because I'm standing with Chad Reed and then Brooks fucking lit.
Yeah, that's pretty standard procedure.
Yeah. And it was at the after party for Supercross.
Yeah.
And this dude like just starts beelining towards me. And Chad's like, oh fuck, like thinking he's about to have like a full fan, this dude's gonna fan out on him. Yeah. And then Brooke's like, Gypsy, hey bro, fuck. And Chad's just standing there like, are you serious? Like,
he's just been like, no, not you.
Yeah. But then I think Brooke was like, holy fuck, oh Chad.
Yeah,
so
you noticed him after.
Yeah, so then we started talking and but yeah, after that, because I just knew who he was. Because I follow the racing still. Yeah. And then, so then we started messaging and like all year I've been just chatting to him and like sort of, which is cool. Like that's one of the reasons I like doing this shit with athletes because I'm not hardcore about downhill enough anymore to follow the racing every weekend that. But if I've got a horse in the race, I can really enjoy it.
You get into it a bit more.
And now, with you, of all next year's World Cups, and even this year, like I started like trying to watch your shit more and
get into it.
Same with Loic and Troy, like those dudes. I'm like, fuck
it definitely builds way more excitement into it when you're just like, that guy from Instagram. But when you actually have a personal connection with someone, you're like, fuck, I want that dude to do well. I want to see how Brooke goes. And I know what you mean.
But dude, I was fucking devoed when I saw that crash. And,
oh man! And
but like, it seems like he's coming back from it so strong.
Yeah,
already.
dude. He's just literally from the get go. He's just been full recovery mode. But I think the biggest thing that scared everyone with that was that he's like viewed as the strongest, toughest guy.
Bulldog,
literally the bulldog. And he got to the point. Dude, we got told when I was going up for practice on Saturday morning. All we heard in the pits was Brooks crashed. He can't feel his legs. And in practice just continued. And we had to ride a round where he was crashed and just keep riding the track.
Really?
And like, imagine that going on in your head. One of your close friends might be a fucking paraplegic and you've just got to go throw yourself down this mountain. Like shit like that when people say you've got the easiest job in the world. Yeah. I'm like, when do you have to deal with that shit in your job? Like I'm saying like that stuff is like just think like how mentally draining something. Like, dude, imagine. I'm literally at world champs. I want to win this. I'm gonna still be going hard as, and your mate's laying on the side of the hill. His legs don't work.
Yeah,
like. They're the different.
It was a bad crash.
It was so bad. No, you don't even understand how high that is. And it was straight to his head. It's like 3 meters high and literally straight to his head.
He is a tough cunt.
Oh, dude. I'm like, and then people are telling me, they're like, oh, do you reckon he's going to come back and race and be all good? I'm like, fuck yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, 100% he will. Dude, he's just literally a bulldog. Fucking tough as fuck. Tough as nails. But I think, like,
you know, one thing that's funny, I thought the other day, I was like kind of cunty, but I'm like, fucking Brooks still has bigger calves than me. Like, the cunt broke his fucking back,
and he still
can't use his legs. And he's like, I'm watching him like in all his I watch all of his stories,
rehab stuff,
and I'm like looking at his legs. And I'm like, fuck, man, this guy's so gnarly. He breaks his back, and his legs are still bigger than mine. I'm like, this cunt would right now in physio, if we got on a cycle bike or something, like, he's probably still gonna kick the fuck out of me.
Beat an ass king competition every day of the week.
Yeah, he's such a savage. But yeah, I'm like super stoked to see him. I'm seeing Win when I'm over there as well.
Perfect. So, dude, just like, that's what I mean. There's so many good people in this in this industry.
Yeah,
it's just crazy to think. Like, I've got so many close friends from mountain biking, but it's just like everyone's solid.
Yeah,
like everyone's just good. And I think we're all solid towards each other because it's not the direct competition.
Contact,
yeah. So everyone's just good vibes and just
is that friends. What it is like on a World Cup weekend? Like, everyone's like really close.
Pretty much. Like, cool. It's funny. I'm just like a bad smell. Hey, I just float around the pits, and I always say it's like it's gonna be hard for Team Rumors because they always do a thing on Vital and Pink Bike about Team Rumors.
Yeah.
But dude, I literally I hang out the Trek pits, I hang out the Mondraker pits, I hang out the Syndicate pits. Like, I just float around because I'm friends with all those guys.
Yeah.
But like, everyone gets along, but not everyone kind of like, not everyone's just like, if dude, I hang out with the media guys. Like, at the last round, I went and got like a media vest on and took photos. And one of the photographers said, because he wanted to go on, his team won the overall for like Team Commensal. Yeah. So he's like, oh, can I go up on the podium and can you take photos for me? Really? So I just took and that's just what I want to do. Hey, like, I'm just into that. But then people I don't know, just people aren't like that. And then the media guys are like, why you like this? Like, why do you like do this? I'm like, man, I don't know. I just like to do it. It's just I like it. I like people. I like to float around. But yeah, it is funny, man. Because I can't wait for like Team Rumors because I'll be like, you might as well not even put me on there because I'm just going to be like...
Yeah, you're just the whore that's
I'm the fucking whore at the party. I'm with everyone. But I think that's a cool mentality to have.
Yeah, fuck yeah,
cool
dude.
To be like...
Especially because like the racing part of it's not going to last forever, bro.
No, and I still want to be friends with all these people after we're done.
You look at some people like, especially in moto, and they will like alienate people, and they'll like dude, Davey Millsap is like the biggest fuckwit that I've like had to deal with.
Really?
Like, I just couldn't. And I mean, he might be a nice guy, and I've had a bunch of people tell me that he's a nice guy, but like every interaction I had with him was just a punish. And I'm like, if we went to the pits right now and I saw him, I'm going to have nothing for that dude.
Yeah.
Like, literally nothing.
That's what I mean.
You don't race anymore, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you just, because you're a kook when you raced, then like, and if it's not just me, like a bunch of people were like in our film world, we're just like, yeah, he's the worst dude to work with.
Just don't do it. Yeah. That's what I mean. Run from that guy. Run.
Yeah.
Distance yourself.
And then it's like, but it doesn't pay off for him long term.
No.
So it's like, to be the guy that like everyone's pumped on
dude, that's the thing I was talking
like
about.
Cole Searley.
Yeah, everyone just likes
retires him. And everyone's like, fuck, don't leave, dude. You know?
I said to someone at the end of the season or something about next year, and I said I'd rather be the most liked person to World Cup than the fastest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I'd rather be that. Imagine being the guy that everyone loves there and just wants to see do well. Look at Valentino Rossi. He's fucking adored by everyone. When was the last time he won a race? Like, I think it's been a while, but everyone goes there to see him.
Yeah.
He's the fucking man. And that's worth so much more than a race win, really. And I know he's got there by winning races, obviously, but dude, I would love to be racing World Cups and just be like the fan favorite. That'd be so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got the ability to do that. You make...
Yeah, that's on you.
That's like, all. That's your reactions. It's your world. You can spin it and twist it and sell it however you want, but that's completely on you.
That's like fucking Ricciardo, dude.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo is like the most popular dude in Formula 1.
Yeah.
And he wins fuck all.
Yeah.
He's the man though.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, dude, there was a race, I had such an iconic race. It's when Sam Hill was going to win in the wet at where was it? It was in Champery.
Yeah.
At rain, he came down the wet, and the person that won was Maddie Lecken. I can't say his last name.
Leah Conan.
Leah Conan, yeah, that's how you say it.
Fuck, I did not know where I pulled that from.
That was good though. I like that. But anyway, like he won the race, but Sam came down, and like everyone was like, it's when everyone loved Sam. And he came down, he was going to win. Everyone was excited. Dude, Maddie had to push around a crowd of people to go shake Sam Hill's hand. He didn't win that race. That's what I mean. The effect you have on people far outweighs a fucking bit of paper with your name on the top. And no one remembers that race for Maddie win. They remember that's the one that Sam was going to win. And like, but that's what, like people have this hot, like you've got to be number one. You got to do that. But it's like, no, if you can present yourself and get like truly fans to like you and like be a part of them and like give back to them and all that, like that's worth so much more, man.
Dude, in the 80cc, so like the jiu-jitsu World Cup, this dude, he's been on the podcast before. He's like one of my fucking idols in life, just from knowing him personally and as like an athlete.
Do you reckon it's weird when an idol becomes a friend? Is that a weird thing for you? Because that was weird as fuck for me.
I feel like it sort of is, but I feel like for whatever reason, like that's what's let me do this job in a way.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't get that with people really ever.
Yeah.
Like I've fucking hang around. Like the other day I took some weed to Schoolboy Q and like, cause he's friends with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And then so we're just there and like, I don't have the like, that's fucking Schoolboy. Like I think it's cool. But I've always had that.
Like you've blocked that out.
That gear, with Lockie though, like he's so different to me that I feel like I'm on my best behavior around him at times though, because like I respect him a lot.
Yeah.
And I know that he's different. So I'm like, look, I got so much respect for this dude. Like even I posted a segment on the Instagram the other day and it was like me talking about Lockie, and I was so, even though like I knew he'd already listened to the podcast because he listens to a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And it's like I knew he listened to it and I was still like, I just don't even know if I want to post this, like, because if I haven't done this dude justice, like that's how much I sort of like look up to him. But him at the 80cc, so it's like the biggest event in the world, he got third in the open weight. Yes. So the dudes that he was fighting like 120 kilos and he was 77 kilos.
Fuck.
And he beat 3 of the best dudes in the world, and then he ended up getting third. But he was like the fucking people's champ. Like everybody, the whole thing. He was the story of 80cc. The dude that won was that Gordon Ryan guy that I was talking about. But that's like, he's not this like lovable dude. He's like this guy that sort of is controversial, and it's like the fucking overwhelming like. The people were like, that's our fucking guy. That's our champion.
And really, end of the day, if you've got that,
I would have felt amazing.
Yeah,
to be
that's
that
the
guy.
thing. You've got that. It's like you're gonna win every race with like, not win every race, but like you in yourself, you're gonna win everything, even if you're not the first person on a bit of paper.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, and that's like with my podcast I do and coming on here, I want to get across to people that like I feel this when I do these things, and like, because it's hard to get across to people. Like it's hard, especially if I write something on Instagram, like a little caption or whatever, and put up a writing photo, people don't know who I am. People just see this facade or whatever and this thing you're trying to make out. And how much do you get across to someone on a Instagram post, like who you are or what you're about and all this other stuff? Like it's a hard thing. I'm beyond me how to make it like...
Oh yeah, and you know what, like when we're talking about that stuff today, like when I meet people through this and like people come up to me and they're like, oh, I love the podcast, blah, blah, blah. I always, like, that's what I was saying, my thing is like, fuck, like what dude does this guy want me to be, or what guy does he think I am? Yeah. And I've never had to think about that until recently. Yeah. But with an athlete, like, you know, you guys have fucking thousands and thousands of people that watch you and like look at your shit, and it's like every time you're like looking at an Instagram post or you're watching an edit on Vital where you're just fucking sending it and then you're on the podium, it's like people are constructing their ideas view of you. Yeah. So, but it's not based in reality. Yeah. And then it's like you write a 3-paragraph thing on Instagram, then they're constructing that. Yeah. So it's like this constant construction of what you are. And this is funny because I talk to people like friends at home, and they'll say they like certain riders, and I'll be like, or don't like certain riders, and I'll be like, why? And be like, oh, some rider came down, he threw his goggles in the finish line and just cracked the shits.
And I was like, and
he's
you don't
the nicest guy ever.
No, but they don't know. They don't know that. But they just make this assumption, and it's like that small thing.
And I've been guilty of that before,
and
for
that's
sure.
what I mean. When you've got a lot of eyes on you, little things change people's minds very quickly. But yeah, just like simple things like that. So it's like you have got to be, consciously conscious of doing those things. Like you've got to actually be like, okay, I just had a shit race and I'm not going to come to the bottom and throw my helmet even though I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, there's obviously a lot of emotion involved, but just like doing small things. Like, dude, I was trying to throw my goggles and stuff like that. Like, that gives me a high doing that. And then people probably view that as a good thing. So I'm like, just do stuff like that. Like, just be positive kind of thing. But yeah, it's like you say, you might do an interview and you might say something wrong or like, like even if, because I had like some motor races like in America and I'd be like, oh, I don't like him. But then I think, why don't I like him? Like,
you don't even know him.
Yeah, I don't know him at all. And everyone's like, he's actually a really nice guy. But I'm like, he doesn't come across like that on Instagram or Facebook or when he's done interviews. But like everyone else you've talked to that personally knows him says how cool he is and how good he is. And I'm like, it's hard to get that across. But
you're right though. Like that, the podcast is so good for that. Like I literally got a message yesterday from a dude saying like, hey, I just found your podcast and I just listened to the one with Chad Reed. I fucking can't stand Chad Reed. I thought he was the biggest wanker ever. And now I like really hope he races this year. I really hope he gets it right. Like, because it's like you get to watch it. You're like, oh, like, that guy is actually a good dude.
Yeah.
Like, because you can't fake 3 hours of a podcast. Like you cannot act that whole time.
Nah, you've got to you slip up at some point. Yeah. But like I've told you things that like no one would have known before. And like, I don't know if that's going to make them view me in a better or worse way or whatever way, but that's me. That's me saying how I am, what I'm doing, why I'm here. And it's like, if you view that in a bad way, it's like, you don't like me. You don't have to like me. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying if you listen to this, you're going to be like, Dean Lucas I want to watch him race or I want to do whatever. Like, that's on you. You can do what you want. Yeah. But I'm saying, this is me. I'm putting it out there. And I feel like it's just the best way to like, to get to know someone that you like, get to know someone you can't physically meet. Yeah. This is like, you understand their views and you understand what they want to do and blah, blah, blah. And it all kind of gets linked together. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Before I even met you, I had a pretty good understanding of who you were. But I feel like it'd be harder for you to have an understanding of who I am through Instagram and Facebook, and Snapchat or whatever else kind of social media platform we'd work through. Yeah. So it's just like, trying to get that out there that like, what we speak on the podcast is us in like a deeper, more real meaning, I guess. Did you find from doing your podcast that like it helped with fan interaction of like people going like, damn, like I didn't know this about you, you know? Yeah, I definitely got, and I love when I got feedback from it, man. It got to the point where like I was doing it through races and I'd have practice at World Cup, and then afterwards I'd get my mic and go find people and do like a little podcast and stuff, and then we'd have the race and I'd put the podcast up and people were like, oh, good job on 7th or 10th or 16th or whatever. By the way, I'm really liking the podcast. Yeah. And I'd completely like not even reply to the good job on the result, and then I'd dive into the podcast stuff because that was what excited me at the time. Like I still love racing and that was good, but I was like, you listen to the podcast, like that's me. Yeah. Like the racer, the racer, you don't know that like the race is just the race or whatever. The podcast is me. Yeah. And it's like everything on the podcast I'm saying is me. So if you like that, you like me. I'd rather talk about that. Like I'm not going to say talk about me, but like talk about ideas. What you got out of it. Yeah. And what you thought was cool. Yeah. And like what you want to hear and which one's your favorite episode and go from there. And like, I get such a high whenever people reply, like send me messages saying they like, and then it just kept happening. Yeah. Because I got a thing now. I want to get into public speaking at schools and stuff. Yeah. I don't know how like I'm going to start off and I don't know when I'm going to do it, but that's a goal I have now. That's a goal in my mind that I probably will make reality. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I want to like slowly ease into that. But I feel like all the podcast is public speaking. Your audience is all over the world on their phones or iPads or whatever they've got, but it's public speaking. It's you putting your ideas into people's heads and they're taken away from it. Just because we're not sitting in an arena or something doesn't change that fact at all. But I've been terrified of public speaking. I'm so terrified. But then through racing and being on podiums and whatnot and just general conversation, I've gotten better at it. And like I had my brother's wedding speech the other day and I was terrified, man. Like even though it's like all my family and loved ones and everything, I'm still terrified. Yeah, it's gnarly, eh? But I did it and I got a video I'll show you later. I don't know if you find it funny because there's a lot of inside stuff, but like everyone laughed and loved it, and then people were constantly coming up to me afterwards and saying, oh, you killed it, you nailed it and all this stuff. And that's like the whole thing about building something. Like had it. I knew what I had to do. I built around it. I worked it because I was playing this for months. I rode it on the plane when I was racing, flying over to World Cups, and I was like put effort into it, and then it worked out. It paid off, and it made me feel good. And then I was like, if I could do that with kids or go to schools or whoever, and like help, I can just keep doing that. I'm like, why not? If I get such a high out of that, I like being around people, like getting positive energy out of people and doing stuff like that. Because dude, that's like, everyone always asks me like, what are you going to do once racing's over? And I'm just like, what? Like, I don't want to think about that now. Like, imagine if, like I said, you did a uni degree, you finally finished, you get like a job, and then everyone's like, what are you going to do after you're done being a lawyer? Yeah. Or what are you going to do after you're done being a doctor? You're just like, let me enjoy it for like 2 seconds and like, let me live in the moment. But now, honestly, I'm like, I'm not even worried about afterwards, because if I can get the podcast.
Well, you've got so much other genuine interest going.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like, I'm not so driven on just winning World Cups. I've got all this, like, I wouldn't say plan Bs, but it's like after things. And I'm just like, they excite me now. And I'm obviously, while I'm racing, I can still build them up. Like, I can build the podcast up while I'm racing. I can maybe start doing talks at schools and like do public speaking and maybe do coaching and like a few other things and link them all in together and just build kind of one big thing as I'm going. And then if writing's done at a certain point, I could maybe just like fall into one of those other avenues that I've created through writing and got a platform from writing. So that's literally the plan now, man. That's like, if I feel like I've already got all these backup plans and stuff. So it's not all this like pressure on, you've got to win a World Cup, even though that's really what I'm driven to do. I'm like, if it doesn't work out, hey, I've got this and everything else. It's not like, oh, I didn't make it in World Cup racing, I'm just going to be sad and sit on the hill and say how I could have made it one day or whatever. I'll be like, I'm going to go talk to people. I'm going to try and motivate people. I'll go do some coaching with kids, or I'll do something else. And I'm just like, I think that's probably the coolest thing I've got out of all this, is like, you control whatever you want to do and you can find happiness in whatever you want. And I think that is like, I don't know, I just really find that cool that I'm at that point now in my life where I'm just generally think I could be happy doing most things, or I can have different options that I can fall into. Like how I said before, people don't know what they want to do in life. They can't find one thing, and I've found so many. Like I have writing, I have like talking to people, I have like all these things make me so happy. I'm like, I don't just have one, I've got like backup plans, I've got options, I've got everything. So I'm like, to anyone that's like, I don't know what I want to do, just start looking. Like, look, you're gonna find something.
Just do shit.
Yeah, like I said, make a checklist, tick things off. Make a checklist of 10 things that makes you the most happy, and then maybe just thin it down until you find something. Or like maybe write 10 things down, try a few of them, find out what makes you really happy or something, and then like relate that into a job you could do. Or like maybe put what makes you happy, like weather that makes you happy, like snow, something. Like just make a pie chart or something. I don't fucking know, but like just put effort in, like get the wheels ticking over. Because it's like you start and then it's just momentum. You keep going. You turn that into something. If you just sit there and say, fuck, I hate my life and I don't know what I want to do and all that, where's that going? You got the brakes on, you stopped. Well,
there's a thing too where like people crave importance and attention. And you can get that from being super positive and like doing things that are like noticeable and, like positive things. But you can also get feelings of importance and attention from doing like fucked up shit. And I think that's why a lot of people will be like down and upset and negative and always talking about their problems and always like that's one thing that fucking kills me more than anything, eh? Like if you get a friend that comes to you and they're like, hey man, yeah, fuck, this is happening, and I'm just like, this keeps happening to me. I'm just like, fuck, like why me? And then you're like,
why me?
Yeah, and then you're like, all right, cool. Well, maybe you should do this, and like I'll introduce you to this person, or fuck, maybe you're at the point where you should go talk to somebody, like go see a psychiatrist, like have some conversations with people that know more than you, and then they're like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it, man. And they don't do it. And then they don't do it. Yeah. And then the next time you see him, like, I don't know, man, like it just still feels like I'm just stuck in, and you're just like, I'm giving this cunt my attention.
Yeah, it's just draining. That's the thing.
But he's getting what he wants, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like he's getting attention, and he feels important because I'm giving him attention. So it's like there's this negative way that you can do it, and I think that's why a lot of people they just choose that route because that's the easy way to do it.
That's what I said. You got to run, because imagine if you ran away and you like, I'm not talking about that. You can't talk about it to you then, and then the next person, everyone does that. Like, well, I might talk about you about something more positive. Oh yeah, I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah.
And then you bring up a positive conversation and start like going down that road.
And like it's, you know, you get, like they say when you like you release endorphins when you smile.
Yeah.
You know, just shit like that. There's so many things that point to like you just should be positive.
Yeah.
Just,
you see someone dancing randomly, it gives you like a bit of a high. Like I was on the beach last night, I just started dancing being an idiot, and then it just kind of just, I don't know, it's just fun thing to do. And then Chuck was there just hanging out, and he just started pissing himself laughing. I was like, just from jumping around being an idiot. It's just like shit like that.
And
it's
you can choose the way that you see something. Like you can judge somebody.
Yeah.
Like you can choose, like I was at that festival at the weekend, and I'd see someone, you'd be like, she shouldn't wear that.
Yeah.
Or you could, like, this is literally how you can choose to frame shit.
Yeah.
You could see a chick that's like kind of overweight and she's wearing like a fucking G-string and her titties are hanging out the side of her bikini and fishnet stuff. And you could be like, you shouldn't be fucking wearing that.
Yeah.
You're overweight.
Yeah.
Or you could go, fuck, it's cool that chick has that kind of confidence.
Yeah. More power to you.
Yeah. More power to you, because maybe she's fucking working out. Maybe she weighed 30 kilos more than that.
Yeah.
5 months ago.
But like,
and now she's lost all that weight and this is like a celebration for her. But I'm looking at her going, fucking hell, like you're fat. You probably shouldn't be wearing that. So it's like even little situations like that, you can literally choose the way you want to view the world. Because
everything.
Like, you look at like, you could look at that and be, that would give you a negative feeling. Like to tag that with a negative thought equals a negative feeling. That's like what Taylor was saying.
Yeah.
You know, a thought turns into a feeling turns into a mood.
Yeah.
Then you're fucked.
Yeah. And how much better do you feel if you looked at it and go, fuck, like she's confident, and then that puts confidence in yourself.
Yeah. And that happened to me on the weekend there. Like I fucking saw so many people where I was like, Jesus. And then I was like, no, dickhead.
Yeah.
Don't, like that's not the way to think about that.
How does this affect me? It doesn't change anything. Her wearing that, I'm just like, it does nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when I had that realization about how like insignificant everything was, and I was just like, that's so insignificant in your life that she's wearing something.
Yeah.
But people get so caught up on everyone else. It's like the whole like.
But it gives you like I think that what it sort of does subconsciously, it like makes you feel better about yourself, because you're then comparing. You're like, you're not like that.
Yeah,
you're better than in a way.
That.
Yeah. But it's like, that's so toxic. But I think it's like natural though, in a way. Like, unfortunately.
This is cool. Okay, so at my party as well, I hadn't even really finished the party story, how it like went, kind of ended up. But I was just at my party, and I was at these hay bales by a fire, and I was hanging out with all these guys, and I started talking to this guy, and I had no idea who he was. He's just some random guy that was at my party. And I was like, who are you, man? He's like, I'm Damien. I was like, how'd you find out about this party? And he's like, I was like at this club thing 45 minutes away, and he had a friend that was there, and he said to come out. He said it was pretty fun. So they got in a taxi, drove 45 minutes, and just rocked up. I was like, that's sick. Like, that's so cool. And like, I wasn't like, get out of my party. There was like no security there.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's sick. I'm like, and then I started chatting to him, like, you're a fun dude. Like, you're cool. I'm like, we should get coffee or something next week. And this is shit you just don't do. Like, and then he put my number into his phone, and we sorted out a coffee date. And the day I left for my trip, I went and got coffee with him and chatted to him. And I was telling all these people that I met someone, but I never said his name. I said I met a guy, we're going for coffee next week, some random guy. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Why are you doing that? And then I put up a photo with him, and everyone's like, that's Damien. He's sick. Like, he's a mad dog. He's so friendly. He's so nice.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I'm just like, how good is that I just met this random guy, and now we're just mates, and there's just another mate, and then everyone said how good he was, and I'm like, that's something I never would have done before. I'd have never been.
Do you remember like the way that you used to think about situations?
Yeah, 100%. So many things. Like, I'd never just go up to random people and start chatting with them. I'd be scared within myself that like I'd get rejected or shut down. And now I'm just like openly about everyone. It's like everyone I can talk to, I'd want to talk to. And everyone's friend, like literally no one's that mean. And if they don't want to talk to you, they'll be like, oh, sorry, we're like having a like just and whatever. Like, oh, that's all good. And then you next person. Yeah. But it's just you can't take on if something doesn't work out. Because not like, I just say to everyone, every one of your best mates was a stranger at some point. Yeah. And then that's what I was telling Charlie last night when I was with him. I was like, you and me were strangers. Imagine if we didn't get through that barrier and like started talking. Imagine all the amazing times we would have missed out on and not experienced. But we made the effort to talk to each other that has got us to here. Yeah. So imagine if you could have that with hundreds of people. Not just
dude, my life's built on that. This podcast is built on that. Like that's the, like life is about people. You know?
100%.
Like that's all that life is about.
Imagine
like
being a billionaire, the richest person in the world, but like when you watch it, I Am Legend or whatever, when it's just like, but no one else is here.
Yeah.
Everyone else is dead. You're a billionaire. How long would you be here before you were just like, I'm like sick? Imagine if you could have everything in the world besides people.
Yeah, fuck that.
Or
I'd take nothing and I'd have a bunch of cool people around me.
Yeah, and it's just like people don't like. If you put it that way, they'll probably say, "Oh, I'd want the people."
Yeah,
but it's like, well, why aren't you putting more effort
exactly.
into people?
Yeah, well, you can have both.
Yeah,
so you should
make both happen then. Yeah. But people never like look at it like that. People just, I don't know, they just don't frame it that way.
Yeah, and
it's just like, why not?
Well, I put up a photo yesterday or the day before of me and Tyler Berriman. And Ryan Walters. I didn't know who Tyler Berriman was. Well, Tyler Berriman was nobody. That's who Tyler Berriman was.
Yeah.
And that was fucking 9 years ago. And me and him drove from California to Atlanta together.
Yeah.
Didn't even know the guy. 10 years later, dude's still one of my fucking good mates.
Yeah.
And it's like you just so much in my life, and I feel like the successes. Ooh. I got an email, I think.
Damn. You got mail.
So much of the what I would call success in my life has come from just the people I've met. Yeah. Like all the things that I have, like even me and Sam, like he's such a good friend of mine now. Yeah. Like it's fucking people, like having good people around you, having good relationships, investing into other people, like that is what creates a full and happy life. Yeah. And a lot of times that's the catalyst that will lead to things and money. And like there's so many people that have just, how many people do you know that have just got jobs because of relationships? Or like got hired for a race team because they just know like he's a really good dude. Like we're gonna have to work, we're gonna get a rider that can win the title, and then we got to get a rider that can get top 10s. And it's like if you've got two riders capable of getting top 10s, but one's a guy no one fucking talks to and no one likes, and the other one is like the pit slut that everyone's mate,
everyone's friend.
That you literally get a ride based on your relationships.
No, that is exactly right. And then just like, especially like I talk to you, we know we have so many mutual friends, and we're completely like, well, you're more obviously the moto side of things and podcast side and all that, but like every time we mention something, like, oh yeah, I know him. Oh yeah, I know him. And then it's just like, that's so like people like just say like Johnny McLean or something, and we both know him, and then I talk to him, and then he helps out with
another good cunt.
Yeah, another good person. So like. I talk
Ricky Boyer, good cunt.
That's what I mean. It's just good people.
Jack Moyer, good cunt.
Bang. But I like talk to him, and then like I've never ridden for Johnny or anything like that. Like I was riding for True Lee when he was distributing it, but I've never directly ridden for him. But I just got a good relationship with him, and then I help out this Ollie Davis kid back home. Yeah. And I was trying to build kind of like a program for him. And I was like putting it to Johnny, oh, can we work something out? Can we do something? And then that turned into this. And it's like not directly to help me, but it's like the fact we already had that relationship. It's fulfilled this thing of helping this young kid. Yeah. And that just builds onto something. And now he knows it. And then it's you don't meet people for favors or stuff, but that's perks of the job. You meet people and things just seem to happen, and you just have better experiences with things. Yeah. And especially like in our industry, there's so many good people that do good things.
It's very closed too. Like there's not a lot of people in the industry. Like if you know 10 of the dudes that are big dogs in the industry, you kind of connected to everybody.
Yeah, everyone's, yeah.
So it's like, that's why you have to be a good person. Like the shit people just don't last. Yeah. Because it's so connected.
And I was thinking like how we're talking, how like Johnny and Glenn Jacobs and all that. And I was thinking, imagine if I asked you, can I come on the podcast? And then you just mentioned to one of them, oh, Dean Lucas wants to come on the podcast. And they're like, fuck, he's
bro, that happens all the time.
Yeah, like nah, don't do it. He's a dick or whatever. Yeah. And then
that happens all the time.
That's what I mean. Yep. And then I'd lose this opportunity. But like, I'm sure if you talk to Glenn or Johnny or all these people, they would they'd speak highly of me.
Well, yeah, Glenn said Saturday. He's like, he was pumped for you to come on.
Yeah, that's.
I've got people that I'm like, I'm getting this dude on. Then they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, oh, why is that? And like, he's a fucking loser.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll be like, oh, okay. And it's like when you respect somebody that's telling you that, you're like,
okay, yeah, it's real information. Yeah. Like when you get negative emotions towards someone, off someone such a solid person, and wouldn't go out of their way to like disrespect someone or like diss someone or whatever, like that carries a like heavy weight with it. Like there's several people I know, if they're like, nah, don't go near that person or don't do this, you just kind of like,
you take it as gospel.
Yeah, like you like might maybe try and see, but at the same time you're just like, that's like it means something.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I want to be the guy that like if you talk to anyone, like fuck, Dino's cool, man. Like he's like you'll get along well. Like that's what I want. Like that's my thing. Like it's kind of like like I don't like I don't know. It's weird. Like you want to be liked, but you don't want to just do things to be liked. You just want to be yourself, and that should be the reason you are liked. And that's what I think I am now, man. Like I'm so just myself, and that's the thing. It's like you can only be the best you are. So I'm like, fuck, do that. And like I said, if people like it, sweet. If they don't, like, fuck, maybe I need to change something then. But like, like I'm happy with how I am at the moment. I'm happy with the people I get to meet and the people I get to race with, and just all in general, just the people I get to associate with. And I like how it just keeps growing and like getting bigger. Like I just met you today and like all your mates, and 100% was like, we could definitely hang out and do shit. Like I happily do that. Yeah. And now I've got someone I know in the Gold Coast. Yeah. And then I met people in Newcastle, new friends and that. It just opens different opportunities. Yeah. That go, for sure. Just that's what life is all about. Literally meeting people to do new things and then explore what you actually truly want to do. Yeah.
What have you got your deal and stuff locked in for next year, or is that?
I'm with Scott still.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was like a 2-year deal with them. And I'm pumped. I'm pumped that like a lot of people go to a new bike or a new team and they struggle. And I felt like, well, I had my best season today. Yeah. And I feel like obviously we're just going to build on that because I'm already going on a bike I'm comfortable with. I'm going on a team I know now. Like at the first race, man, we rocked up to Maribor and I was already like, I didn't want to leave Intense. Like I loved Intense. Like Jen Gabrielli and Jeff Stieber, like they were like mum and dad to us. Like they took us into their home in California. And the team was cool, man. It was so friendly and cool. And like, it was literally more of a family than a team. Yeah. And they were so giving and like, so supportive and did all this stuff for us. So I never wanted to leave. Like I was never like, as soon as I can get
You weren't looking for other rides.
I wasn't looking. It just kind of fell into my lap with results and certain things. And there were certain things that Scott could do that Intense couldn't do. And there was like just bits, like small things here and there, like it, and it all kind of added up. Anyway, I made the decision that I'm gonna leave.
Was there an option to stay with Intense?
100%. They left it up to me, and
So what's the kind of different shit that like makes a difference at that level?
Well, I want to do more like filming stuff and more media stuff. I want to have my own mechanic, and then like the salary was different as well. Like there's a lot of things like that. But I like my mechanic now is the guy that got me into racing. Yeah. When I was 12 years old, he took me to my first downhill race, and I said like, if I could have my own mechanic, I'd take him with me. And Ten said like, we want a guy from America, and we can't do that. And there was a few other things with like media stuff I wanted to do, and I just wanted to kind of do a few things they just couldn't help me with. Yeah. And then I just made the decision, hey, like I'm gonna go, and that was tough, man. Like Jen was like, I literally looked up to her as like a mum, and then she like kind of like cut me off, and that was tough for ages because I'm like. And then I just like it was just a hard thing to deal with, like someone like, and I understand why, like they brought us into their house, they do this stuff, and they just felt like I just left them, like I came and used them and left, and that's not what happened at all. It was just I felt like for my career and the direction I wanted to go, it was better to leave than to stay. But like, how do you get that across to someone? Like it's just, and then even we didn't talk as much as we should have. Like you kind of deal with team managers and stuff like that, and you distance yourself a bit from the actual people that run the company, own the company. So I left, man, and it was hard. Like, it was so hard. Like I was like, did I make the right decision? Like just kept going over that in my head and like, is this right? And then at the first, and I left Jack as well. Like Jack was my like, dude, we've grown up racing since we were 14, and we're like I stayed at his house this week. Like we're good friends. Yeah. And dude, just to travel the world with a good friend and race bikes is pretty cool. And I was leaving that to go to a team that was literally a French team, and they had Brendan on it, but like majority French people, and it was just like, that is a big change. So I changed, and then when I went to the first World Cup, I remember being out for dinner, and then we're on the team, and like everyone on the team can speak pretty good English, but then most of the time when they're all together, they just speak French. They speak French.
Same as in our gym, so fucking all Brazilian.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at the end of this table, and I'm like eating my dinner, and everyone's speaking French, and I'm literally looking at my dinner like, what the fuck have I done? Really? Like I was like, I fucked up. I'm not happy here. I only met half the people at this first race because we had a team camp, but they didn't have all the mechanics and all, like I knew the riders, but it just, anyway, Dude, I was just like, what? Like, literally, what have I done? I've fucked up. I'm not happy right now. My results are probably going to show because of that. But then slowly over time, it like built up. The riders are cool, like really cool. There's this Flo Payette guy. He's fucking big, tall island guy, and he's so cool. But it's like it built up, and then we got like slowly got better and better.
Yeah.
So then.
In the case of your van.
Oh, yeah, where are they? Sweet.
Maddie's got clients trying to get into
Oh,
the studio.
really?
Oh shit.
I thought it was after hours.
We have to have a van moving session. So anyway, it like built up over like the season and got better and better, and like to the point where I'm like good friend. Like I am good friends and love it. Like I love the team I'm on now.
Yeah.
But it was just like pretty cool to think like that's what I mean. I started off so bad. I was literally like, what the fuck have I done? And then I got good results. The bike worked, and you just built relationships within the team. And then I ended on a high. I got the best season of my life, and it got my goal of a consistent top 10s and top 10 overall.
Yeah.
But dude, it's like what I mean with life. Like I started off in a shit spot. Like I just wasn't happy, and I was like, oh no. But you do all the things to make it better, and then by the end of it, it worked out really good. So I feel like you got to change that. But it was a hard thing. Like leaving, like teams are like literally your family for a long period of time. And I hate people that just like literally go from one team to another and just like, and now it's good. No, Jen Gabrielle called me the other day and we had a chat, and I was like I like that we're like, because I'd always message her like, how are you? What's going on? And I'd get like nothing really back. And I remember I called her one time and she was just so blunt, and I was like this kills me. I don't like this. I hate that. But that's what I mean about putting these like negative feelings into people. I can't do it. I hate doing it. I say when I give you $10, get 100 back. Same goes for putting shit feelings into you, get shit feelings back. So I just can't do it. Oh, this is another thing I fucking just remembered. This is probably part of that as well. So with teams and all this stuff, when I left Da Vinci, which was my first kind of ride, and went to intensives, and like, dude, that's what I mean. Leaving teams is hard because it's not just like the people that own the teams; it's people on the teams think you're leaving them. So when I started,
and they're doing the best they can, so they take it super personally. Like, well, what the fuck? Like, I'm
I know.
Not good enough.
I just feel like you're throwing it back in their face.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but at least you think about it.
Oh, dude, it's just all like I don't. That's when you've got to be selfish. When you think this is best for me, and you're going to hurt people. But I just don't like hurting people in that way. But sometimes you've just got to be selfish and you just got to do it. And I'm glad I did do it now. But at the time, it was just like a minefield of like, what have I done wrong? Should I do on this way, that way, everything? But this was another thing. When I left Da Vinci, I was on that for 2 years, and my teammate on that was Nick Beer and Steve Smith.
Yeah.
And then Nick Beer left, and then it was Mark Wallace and Steve Smith. And like, dude, we got along so well, and like we had a good time and all that. And then afterwards, I need to tell you the Milan story actually as well. It's actually we'll tell that after. Anyway, maybe we'll tell it first actually because it builds into it. So me and Stevie, we got pretty close and we became good friends. Anyway, this one time in Milan, everyone that's probably heard it because I've done it on the other podcasts, so people have heard it. But anyway, it's probably my best story I've ever gotten, hands down. It's just the best ones.
We have to tell that.
I always tell it. So anyway, me and Steve, we got pretty close. Obviously, we're racing everywhere together. So then one time we're in Milan in between. It was like we just finished a World Cup in Val di Sole, Italy, and then it was a week break. I think we had a 2-week break, and then it was World Champs in Andorra. Anyway, so we just stopped off in Milan. We're like, hey, let's just be tourists for a couple of days and just hang out and just not think about riding bikes for a little bit. So anyway, we go out one day and we're like shopping or whatever, and then we end up stumbling into this like little, where was it, an Indian store? We just got dinner there, and me and Steve like, oh, we'll have a drink. So we have like whiskey Cokes, but like the guy's pouring like triple shots in these Cokes. So we're like, we get pretty drunk pretty quick. So like absolutely like getting pretty hammered. And then Mark's with us and we're like, do you want to come? Like we'll go out in the town. And Mark's like, I'm not doing that. I'm going home. I'm done with this. So we're like, oh, whatever. Can you take our shopping and shit? So I give him like shopping from the day. And we're like, yep, let's go out. So we're like, go out, we have a few drinks, and then we're like, oh, we should go to a strip club. Like, let's go to a strip club. It'll be fun. Like, we've got nothing else to do. Let's go to a strip club. So anyway, we go to this strip club, which we got a taxi, thought we'll go to a strip club. So we rock up there and we go in, and it's just kind of a weird, dark vibe.
Yeah.
And there's like...
Was the girls any good?
Well, we get walked in. There's like a weird old guy sitting down, and then there's like a hot chick sitting next to him, just chatting to him. And then some guy or some girl, I forgot who it was, some guy or girl comes and gets us, and he's like, "Oh yeah, come down here." So we walk down, and then all these girls just stand up off these seats and go on the stage and line up.
Yeah.
And we're just like, "Yep, what's going on here?" And it's like, "Oh, you got to pick one of the girls." I'm like, "Oh, why?" He's like, "Oh, like this is a brothel. This isn't a strip club." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, like wrong door. Sorry, let's go." So we both leave, and we're like, "Oh, well, let's just go to find a bar." So we go to a bar, and we start drinking, and we just keep drinking, and like we're having a good time. We're just joking around, just chatting, just talking shit, having a good time. And we're like, let's go to another strip club. Like, there's got to be one here. Like, we'll find one. So we go to this other strip club, which we thought was a strip club, and we just go in, and the same thing happens. This lady comes up to us, and she comes out, and she's like, "Girls," and we're just like, "Fuck it." We're pretty drunk at this stage. It's like, can we just hang out with the girls? And he's like, "Yeah, you can buy the girls a drink." So like, all right, we'll buy them a drink. So we all get a round of drinks, and we sit down. It's these two Russian prostitutes, and they're like super friendly as they would be, and like joking about. And it's like, yeah, we like it when there's actually like not old creepy people here, and like how they end up in Italy, and just general chit chat. We're talking for a while, and then it kind of just gets to the point where it's like what's happening here? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like, well, you can buy a bigger table. Like there was like levels you could do.
Yeah.
So you could buy a table with like a strip pole, or you could buy like a bedroom, or like it's just levels. And they're like, we're like asking how much. I think for like a strip pole it was like 300 euros or like something ridiculous.
Yeah, that's fucking expensive.
Anyway, you gotta remember at this point as well, I'm like hammered, like we're hammered drunk. So like we'll get another drink. So anyway, we get another drink, and I'm sitting there, I'm kind of getting a bit like, whoa, like this, like I'm feeling this. And we're like, I'm just gonna go to the toilet real quick, Stevie. So I go to the toilet and start peeing, then it just starts getting worse. And then I think I threw up or something. Anyway, I was like, oh fuck. So like I walked out, and I just passed out on this couch, like right where you come into the brothel.
Yeah.
And I'm just like passed out on this couch, and this girl's like, "You need to get up, sweetie, you'll get kicked out." And I'm just like full giving her the "you're too beautiful to like be a prostitute" and all this stuff, like full with like just being a little pest. And then they're like, what do you call the lady that's like the head?
Madam.
The madam was just like, you need to get out, like you've been a pest or whatever. So I just walk outside. I'm just going to walk for a little bit and just like get some fresh air, and hopefully I'll feel better. So I just start walking. I think I was going on my phone, and I was walking for a bit. I was like, all right, I'll go back. And I was like, fuck, where have I walked to? And I just walked like around the corner of the block, but all these buildings in Milan are so high, like it all just looks the same.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I think I went that way. And I just full got lost. Completely lost. And I'm like walking for a bit, like, no, I'll find it, and then just get more lost. Like when we're on the ride today, you just get more lost. It's just the exact same scenario. So I'm walking for a while, and then this fear starts to set in, because I'm literally like drunk as, middle of nowhere, no idea where I'm going, no idea how to get home, like nothing. And then I think my phone, and then I was like messaging people back home, like my friends, like, I'm lost in Milan, like I'm gonna die, like just shit you just shouldn't say to people. And I was like, called my friends and like, what do you mean you're lost? I'm like, I can't find Steve and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, like, I got real scared. There's a video, I did a selfie, and I just remember like you'd hear like the fear in my voice. Like I got to this point where I'm like, this is how someone gets, because we're in brothel area. It's sketchy area. I'm like, someone's gonna grab me and kidnap me or rob me or beat me up. So I get these like scared feelings, and I'm like, no, I need to get out of here. I need to find a taxi. And so I got a taxi, and I was like, can you take me to this landmark, like the main landmark in Milan, which is a big art gallery and whatnot? And I was like, I know how to get home from there. So if you take me there, I'll be able to get home. So he drives, and I wasn't even like, I was like 5 minutes. I was not far from there, like 2 minutes from there.
Yeah.
And he pulls up, and I go to pay him, and I don't have my card. Like, I don't know where it went. I think it lost it at the strippers, or the strippers had it. So I had no card, and I had my phone, but I didn't have Apple Pay. I had no way to pay, no cash, nothing. And I was like, what am I? And it was only like 10 euros. And I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? And then there was like an ATM. I was like, I need to go get cash out. So like, and it wasn't far from where the taxi was. So I walk out like I'm going to go get something out. And then as soon as I get the ATM, I just piss bolt. I just run. And then I hear the taxi driver, he's like yelling. I look, and there's like these cops standing down like this corner where this like the statues and all this other stuff were. He's like yelled something in Italian, and I'm obviously running. So then they just start running. I'm like, fuck me. Like, I got to fucking get out of here. So I've never run
as fuck too.
Never run so fast in my life. and ran for I reckon probably a minute. I'm like, I can't keep running. So I quickly like jump, hide under a car, wait for the police to run past, and then I'm waiting there for a bit, and then I wait for the taxi to drive past. And I'm like, what do I do now? Like what, like I've got to move. I can't just stay here. They're probably going to like come, like I just need to move. So I get out from under the car, and I had a white shirt on with like a little bit of black on it. And I was like, I need to like change my look. So I take my white shirt off.
Anyone would think you just robbed a fucking bank. You just robbed this dude of 10 euros.
I know. And then I take my shirt off, put it back on, and it's a white shirt. It doesn't look any fucking different. And then I'm running. I'm like, okay, that doesn't look different. I need to take my shirt off. So I take my shirt off. I'm just running shirtless through Milan, pissed as anything. I'm like, oh man, like what is going on? And then I was running back to my place because I knew where to go. Every time a car would come past, I'd hide in like an alleyway and like full creepy, like I've just killed someone shit. Anyway, get back to the apartment, walk in, Mark's in there, and he's like, what's happening? What's going on? Where's Steve? I'm like, man, I can't even, like, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm going to bed. Like, this was fucked. Like, I was terrified. Lay in bed, probably 5 minutes later or whatever, we get a knock on the door. I'm like, oh, Steve's home. So we get a knock on the door. Mark gets up, opens it. It's the guy that owns the apartment and 2 police officers.
No shit.
Dude, my heart sunk. I'm just like, oh, I'm fucked here. And they walk in, and I'm just waiting for him to like cuffs on me, and they're just like, we have your friend.
Oh.
And I'm just like so relieved, but at the same time, like wait,
why the fuck do you
what?
have Stevie?
Yeah, why do you have Stevie? And I was like, oh fuck, like, oh shit, okay. And we're like, we need his passport. So we're looking everywhere for his passport. We can't find it. And we're just like, fuck, like we can't find it. And it's like, we'll find it and bring it in the morning. He's like, okay, well, he's in the police station. So we wake up the next morning, like, well, we got to go get Stevie. So we walk to like what we thought was a police station. We go in, we're waiting for like half an hour. And we go up to the line like, oh, you're in the wrong spot. And we're just like, oh my God, like this just doesn't get worse.
Were you hungover as fuck?
I'm so hungover. I've slept like a few hours. I was like just in a state. So we walk around the other side of where we're supposed to be, and there's like full armed security, like guys with machine guns.
Yeah.
And we go up to them like, hey, we're looking for our friend Steve Smith. And they're like, who? I'm like, Steve Smith. And we show them a photo. And like, oh, go away. And they've got guys with machine guns telling us to go away. I'm like, what? And he was like, no, he go away. He leave. He set him free. And we're like, oh, okay, sweet. So we get back to the apartment, and Steve just comes out of the shower, and he's just like shaking his head. And we're like, what happened? And apparently, so he left the strippers not long after me. And then apparently he was like talking to people in the street or something, and went to get in the car, but then apparently slammed the door, like just made a bit of a scene. And then there was 2 cops there, and I'd say it was the same cops from me.
Oh.
Anyway, they asked him for ID, and all he had was 2 credit cards that both said Steve Smith.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, where's your ID then? And it's like, no, I've just got these. So they're like, because he wouldn't present ID, and I'm sure he was drunk and probably not being the most cooperative person either. They took him to the police station. Anyway, they threw him in a cell. Apparently they've been real mean to him, like just being like real, like just treating him like a piece of shit kind of thing. They apparently threw him in a cell, and he full got like in a fucking like heated argument with some guy in the cell. He said they got in like a bit of a tussle or something. I don't know how true that is, but he said that's what happened. And then he was there, he just passed out on like one of the concrete seats. And when he woke up, he's just like, why don't I just tell them to Google me? I'm a fucking world champion. Like they can find out who I am. So apparently he went to him, he's like, Google me. Like I'm on the internet. And they Googled him and realized he was a world champion. And you know, Italians are so into cycling. Yeah. Apparently all these guys that were just putting him down were just like, oh, like, and just so apologetic and whatever. And then that's why they let him go.
That's fucking crazy.
And they sent him back. And I was just like, how do we both have these confrontations with probably the same 2 police officers and just come out like it was just a weird like thing of events and whatever? And just like, man, that's my Milan story. And I think like that's probably the best story I got. I just like the shit. But what was that even going?
So then leaving Da Vinci.
Oh fuck, you're so good. Just I kind of want to build up like me and Stevie had a relationship.
Yeah. So like exactly like when you're on the teams, man, and you're like that deep. Like there's guys that, you know, with JDR, like Nate Ramsey, like I'm so close to him. Yeah. A couple of the sponsors that were, you know, with the JDR team, and, you know, riders that I fucking used to do a lot of work with. Like you get super close to these people. Like they become your family. They
become your family. And this is why it was so hard with what happened, because, and this just all comes back to, you know, how I said I can't put negative emotion into people. So like we were to that level of like closeness, and the year after that, like later on that year, that's when I made the decision to leave. And that's when I did leave. And then at the first 2 rounds of the year, like were Lords and then Cairns. Anyway, I went to Lords and I kind of like said hey to Stevie and Mark and like, but it was a bit weird, not quite, obviously not the same. And I could like tell something was going on. So then we did that race. Then we came to Cairns and we had the World Cup. I think it was 2016, 16 in Cairns. Yeah. So we had that race and just like Stevie was getting back on it. He got a flat tire. He qualified fourth at the round before he was second or something. So he was back up there. Anyway, I saw him at what is the famous nightclub at
Gilligan's.
Yeah. So I saw him there and we were both a bit drunk and I was like, I want to talk to him. So we start talking to him. I'm just like, man, I'm so happy like you're back up there because he dealt with so many injuries. He dealt with like breaking his foot and then just coming back and breaking it again. And I remember he's just like, he started to ride like himself again. I was like, that's so good to see because the whole team were teammates. He was struggled so much. So then when he was like finally coming back up, I was like, yep, like you're back, you're coming back, you're strong again. So we started talking, we got into a few things and then that conversation slowly took a turn and he kind of brought up, he's like, why'd you leave kind of thing? And it was really great. Like he was pretty obviously upset and emotional about me leaving. And it was like kind of to do with the team manager at the time and a few other things. I just wasn't happy. Like I just generally like, not to do with him, but just how management was and what I thought I was worth and what I wasn't getting. So it was out of like his control. And then he kind of just felt like I think I abandoned him and left him. And like it's like a close friend thinking that. So I can understand where the emotion comes from. But we got in this real heated argument where the point we're like full yelling at each other like, you're a fucking idiot, you're a piece of shit. Like and then I literally got security like dragged me out. And the last thing I said to him was like, you're a piece of shit. And then a week later he died in a motorbike accident. And I'm like, I've got to live with that negative emotion got put in. Like I put that in him and now he's gone. I can't fix that. It's there. I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have that because you don't know that. Imagine if you told someone fuck off and then they died and then it's just like, that's the last thing I got to say to someone that I had so many good memories with and so many good experiences and like looked up to and idolized and that's it. Like that's us done. And I'm just like...
And you don't actually think he's a piece of
shit.
Dude,
he was such a good person. He was so genuine and he was so like... Just, that's the thing. He was world champion, but people remember him and love him because of how charismatic and how outgoing. And that's the whole thing. Winning's not everything, but it just lifts you. And like, if you're already good, it lifts you even better. And that's when I met him, dude. He was just one of those people. He just talked to you and he just be friendly. And he was such a good representative of the sport and such a good role model and all these things. And I'm like... I'd much rather talk to him and say those things to you, like you're fucking amazing and you do these things and I idolize you, I look up. Imagine if I could say that to him, if I could have 1 minute with him, 1 second with him, that's all the shit I'd want to say, not you're a piece of shit, for something that was out of his control. And he was only emotional because of someone else. That's what I mean, man. It's like now all I want to do is, he's angry at me, I'll be like, man, why are you angry? And then break that down and get to a good level because you don't know. I could go outside and get hit by a bus fucking tomorrow. It's like shit happens, but I just like see all these things, man. All these things I'm like I think about, and then I try and work out. It grows you and puts you into perspective how things can be and how you can change things because
if you're open to looking at them.
Yeah, man, that's like the thing. How I said I didn't talk to my mum for so long, and I was like, imagine if she died or I died or something, and then that's negative emotion in either one of us that doesn't need to be there. Like I'm like so happy right now. I can't think of anyone that I've left in a bad way. I can't think of anyone if they weren't here or just say they died or something. I wouldn't be like, oh fuck, we.
That's like a good way to think about it.
Yeah, like we finished on bad terms, or like you passed away on bad terms. I'm like, wouldn't you rather like if someone passed away or someone died, you'd be like, fuck man, like I was so happy last time I saw him. I told him I loved him and I cuddled him and fucking it did whatever. And if you can have that all the time, like why not?
Yeah.
Why can't every time you have like an interaction with someone, you leave on a positive high? Because you don't know when they're going to be here, when they're going to go. Like you have no idea. You don't know what's going to happen. But you leave on that positive high, that's good for them. It's good for you. Good for fucking everyone.
Yeah.
That's like, and then just don't like learn from this shit I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because like dude, that's like the closest person that's passed to me. Like I've had like grandfathers and stuff pass away, but like you're not really that close with them. Like
this is like a real friend.
Yeah, like a true proper friend that we spent lots of time together.
From stranger to fucking
and that was like
mate.
the first time, especially like I mean when he was like, I idolized him.
Yeah.
And then imagine if your idol becomes one of your close friends and then they pass. It was just it's just a heavy thing. But I just want to say all this stuff now and get that across that like you just learn from that.
Yeah.
Change the way you think, because Dude, I got mates back home, and they always like they're brothers, and they're always fighting and arguing. I'm just like, imagine if you had a massive fight with your brother, and then he died in a car crash or something. Like
Which fucking happens.
Which happens all the time. It's not like a rare thing for people to like. My close old housemate, his brother died in a car accident. I'm like, I hope to God the last thing those two did was have a good like conversation, like it was on good terms kind of thing. But yeah, that's what I mean, man. It's like that shouldn't be the reason to try and better yourself and do it because of the possibility of someone passing. It should just be why you do it.
Yeah, that's
it's like you say the perks that come from it. That should just be a perk, like just being good because that could happen, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was crazy. But yeah, dude, I fucking miss that guy. He was good for just the sport, just generally a good person.
That's what makes me so glad that Brooke's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine if he died. Like it's not ridiculous thinking.
No, fucking
not
shit happens, man. Well, hey, we just did 3 hours, brother.
We're on 3 hours.
Yeah, dog.
I wonder how many people are going to look at it and be like, that's too much for me. I'm not going to handle that. Or whether people are just going to fucking sink in. I feel like how we started and how we got people into it are going to be... This is what I mean. I don't even feel like we've been talking for 3 hours.
No, it's crazy.
I think my longest podcast I've done was maybe close to 2 or something.
Yeah.
But I always feel like I could keep going. Most of the time, it's because the person's busy or needs to do something.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm like coming up here. I'm like, I got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Like this is important shit. Like this shit. Like dude, when you said I can come up and I made the plan, I was just like so excited and just literally cleared everything and just like we are gonna talk until we're like it's done or whatever. Like just until we get all that shit across. And I think that's just fucking awesome.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. It's really cool. Like even when I was saying to the boys, like, hey, he's just driving up to do the podcast. Like,
yeah,
it's cool that this even means that much to anybody.
Me, yeah,
you
dude,
know,
that's the thing.
It
like,
would be something that you'd want to do. You know,
dude, I got you like a bottle of wine and goggles and shit, and like that's because like you've given me like this is awesome for me. You've got such a big platform. And if I can get my message across to more people, that is so good for me. Like, and I'm like, if I can take you for an e-bike ride and give you some shit, like that's like the least I can fucking do, really.
It's cool too because like that was one of the things with this new studio is like I really want to have a place where people can come. Like you can fucking hang out here for the rest of the day, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like sitting here watching the fucking Banksy doco. Like
yeah, I should have finished that.
You know, this is that, but that's why I built this room. Like,
yeah.
And I wanted to have the kind of thing where it's like, yep, we'll hang in the morning, we'll do the podcast, and then fucking go get dinner. Like Kirby on Monday night, my buddy Dan Kirby come in. He's a drummer for Bliss and Esso and 28 Days.
Yeah, and
like he come in, fucking did the podcast. We watched some bullshit on YouTube. We fucking smoked. Then we went out. We had dinner. We had fucking drink. Like it was a great time.
Yeah,
so, it's just and for you to come up and experience that as well as a guy that I didn't even know. Yeah. Is like, oh, that's fucking cool to me, dude.
Like, I feel like most people won't even understand how can you meet, like I met you 7 hours ago or something. How can you meet someone and then be like this? And like, you can be like this to anyone you want to be.
Yeah.
You can open up and obviously you need like the same kind of return to make it happen. But like, I was like, I'm coming to talk to someone that talks to people for a living. You think we're going to run out of shit to talk about? Or like, you think it's going to be boring? Like, no fucking way. No fucking way. It's just going to be good. It's fucking sick.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. You're the fucking man. And this won't be your last Gypsy Tales experience.
No, we'll get back on. After we win some World Cups and we start fucking blowing up there, we can chat again.
Fucking oath.
I'm excited. Is that us done? We're out.
We're done, bro.
Peace, Gypsy gang. Thanks for listening.
You. Woo! Cheers, brother.